Right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 10th Competitive Worms Armageddon podcast. So, this time, we're actually interviewing the one and only Mablak, the legend, the GOAT of Worms, the multiple world record holder. And we have a special guest co host with us today, Ruffled Bricks. Hello there.
Hello. Hi, how are you all doing? I mean, we've already talked a minute ago, but we should reiterate how we're all doing for the public.
Yeah, so how are you guys doing?
But just throw
Pretty
the question back at me, why not? This is probably going to be a bit weird because Mablak, haven't you been like the co-host on several of these before?
Yeah, it's a bit odd. I mean, it's like most podcasts don't do that. It's kind of like, we have limited people in this this community, so we got to do a little bit of rotating around. But no, thanks for hopping on. This is I was saying this is like the first time we've had any sort of podcast with like three people who all have like good mics and cameras. So I mean that alone it sets this above our other episodes.
I have a good mic, but I don't have it in the best position. I need to get one of those microphone stands that you've got and adjust it all the time.
I just like the subtle burn there, to saying like, yeah, this is the first time we have ever had a listenable podcast. Like,
yeah, everyone, yeah. Everything before this just trash,
Take that, dead code.
But yeah, this one will be interesting. I'll spill my guts about all the dirty secrets I've been keeping about various wormers and
Yeah, so
Kamito's got a very important question he's going to ask you first.
Yes.
So I'm going to leave it to him to open up.
Before we get into the infamous first question, though, for everybody watching, as we do sometimes with some of the guests that come on, we have a little video in the top left showing some of their achievements. So what we're going to have is Mablak's all missions world record, and then that will be followed by his deathmatch world record. This is for his speedruns, because he is a multiple world record holder in speedruns across multiple games as well, I believe. He's a multiple world record holder for TTRR speedruns on TUS, and did they have that on First Blood as well, Mablak? I can't remember.
I mean the rope race records started on pretty much our kit, like a totally separate site, I would say.
This doesn't count as the first question, by the way. This doesn't count as the first question. But
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, how many worms have you killed, Mablak?
Oh my god. Okay. So I feel like there's days where you kill 100 worms, and there's days where you kill like only one or two. And there's also So okay. 100 worms times 365 days. Okay, 36,500 for a year. I'm just gonna say times that by like let's go with under 1 million, but more than 500,000. That's my claim.
I think that's the biggest number. I think that's the biggest number I've heard. But I feel like I personally believe that Dead Code must surely have the record just because of all the tool assist that he does.
Right. I mean, I feel like he made some kind of like worm killing machine at some point. Or like there was some simulation he did where he just kept running a game over and over, and I feel like that alone must put him at the top.
The thing is, those are all battery farmed worms that he kills. Like Mablak kills at free range. There's that counts for more in my book.
Exactly. I treat my worms good before I
organic
kill
worms,
them, and that matters. That matters too.
When did you last time I was here, I gave a kind of potted history of how I started killing worms. Nowhere near as many as you, I should stress. When did you kill your first worm? Do you remember?
Yeah, my very first worm killing would have been when I was either 12 or 13, I want to say. So it would have been around the year 2000. But yeah, I could just say like I started on Worms 2. Basically, I know who got me into it too. It was this it's one of my besties. He was actually the son of the CEO of Tektronix, so he had a nice pretty nice house. We just kind of go over there, like he had a pool table and stuff. It's like we would like play random shit, a lot of Dreamcast I remember, and also a burned copy of Worms 2, and he kind of got me into it. But,
so I just had to look up
yeah.
Tektronic here because I wasn't really aware, but this is a cordless power tools company, is that correct?
They wait, Tektronix. No, I mean they made like a bunch of yeah. It's like there's like an X at the end of it, but they made a bunch of oscilloscopes and stuff like that.
Professional web and IT services?
What? No, I don't think so. I think there's probably like 10 different Tektronixes.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I started on Worms 2. Everyone, it seems like at the time, everyone just had like a burned copy of a Worms 2 disc. Like it was just kind of traded by hand, and people just told each other about it by word of mouth. And everyone I knew was playing Worms for like a month. Keyword a month. I was the only one who like kept playing. So I do remember those early days having like tons of fun, like playing with actual friends, like in real life.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I got addicted. They didn't. I would sometimes try to get them to play, but they're like, "No, he's too good. We must."
So when they all went off, do you remember what games they then went on to afterwards? Was it just kind of flavor of the month stuff, or was it like?
I mean, I feel like a lot of that was right before high school, where like all my friends started to get like super super busy, and I did too. But I mean, I made time for Worms. That was the that was the one thing. But yeah, I started there. Like the early days, though, it's like you would just do things like have prod wars. In Worms 2, you could set the prod to have like infinite power.
Yes.
One of the few things I sort of missed in Worms Armageddon. You can't just like poke a worm and have it fly to the moon.
Yeah, I think we might have talked about this last time, but I mean, there's definitely a bit of I think a divide on how people feel about the fact that Worms Armageddon scaled down the number of options that it had for the weapons compared to Worms 2, which you could absolutely reconfigure everything within an inch of its life. And when I say a divide, I think I'm probably the only person who defends Worms Armageddon for not having that, but like
it's a bit over. It's like, I mean, people do want customizability, but up to a point. I mean, it's like at the time, I do remember being a little disappointed going from Worms 2. Well, I went from Worms 2 to Worms World Party, but same thing. I was just like, "What? Where's the freaking options?"
It's interesting you mention that, because a lot of like when 3.8 came out, you can go into the extended scheme options, and you can actually mess around with the game engine physics as well, the game speed, the gravity, the friction. But nobody really uses that. It's like overkill. Like no scheme that are, at least all the schemes that are in leagues, all the classic schemes, they're all normal gravity, normal game speed, normal friction. So yeah.
Right. I think it's just I think like we might be a little bit past the golden age of like scheme invention, but when I played all those games with like we interviewed Foxhound, like he was very much into some of these crazy ass schemes that use the new features. So there's kind of like a whole world that we haven't really explored, and I don't know, maybe we should kickstart some like new scheme creation, because I mean there's a lot. What's the name of that one scheme, Black Hole BNG, where like you can just kind of, there's like a central gravity point.
Yeah, it goes round and round.
I mean, that alone is like, I feel like that would be like, that would take an insane amount of skill to like master. I mean, you'd have to be plotting actual trajectories. You'd have to like be working at NASA to really master that scheme.
How many people work at NASA? Because that would be how we know just how much future there is in that scheme.
Exactly. Well, I'm sure NASA's getting cut tomorrow in
Yes,
in
that is
the great wave of
I
defunding.
I forgot all about that scheme that you and Foxhound played. What was that called again?
We didn't play the black hole BNG one, but we did play one where like the worms were levitating.
Pool or snooker or something.
I think it was one of those. I can't remember. Let's go with snooker. Yeah.
Thank Foxhound in the chat there.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So Worms 2 was your starting point.
It was. So I played So I played Worms 2 for about, I don't know, a few months. Basically, I played it long enough to log online and witness the spectacle of people roping. And I just, the ropers are just whizzing by. And the first time you see it, you can't even see what they're doing. You're like, what? Are these people all like fucking cheating?
I remember that.
Yeah, this is absolutely insane. But it kind of sticks with you and you're like, wait a minute, is this real? I mean, there can't be that many people cheating. There must be a way to actually do this roping stuff. And so I got really interested in this idea of roping, and that was kind of keeping me wanting to play the game. I never really connected with the online community though until like I bought Worms World Party. And I think I just thought like, oh, well, there's a new Worms game coming out. I'll just get that one. I'm sure it's the absolute best one.
So what year was this you started Worms 2 in?
Worms 2 was probably like the year 2000, I want to say.
Wow. Okay. So that's quite late, actually.
It's late for Worms 2.
Yeah.
And I think that same year I probably bought Worms World Party, or it might have been 2001. Kind of a blur, but it was around that time. And let's see. Oh, my Discord is
you're fine
going dark here.
You're fine on our end.
Audible to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it just blew. Okay. I think we're good.
Can you still hear us? Yeah. Can you still hear us?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I got Worms World Party.
If it's too much of a struggle, just imagine what questions we would ask. They're not that difficult.
Yeah. But yeah, Worms World Party. I actually like tried logging on and like actually talking to people on WormNet, and it was. I mean, at that time, it was a pretty easy process to actually start figuring out like how to play shoppers, how to play ropers. You definitely had to find people though. You had to find like some people who are willing to give you the time of day, basically, and teach you, show you the ropes. And typically,
because there's ropes in that. Yeah. Okay.
Indeed.
Cool.
Yes.
Sorry,
but
no. We So like most people at the time in Worms World Party, we were playing shoppers, fly shoppers, where you have to launch yourself across like a central barrier before you attack. Ropers and warmers. It was like a handful of schemes, but they were all like roping schemes. There was like pretty much no one playing like regular ass worm schemes. Like the occasional person playing intermediate, but everyone was just super into the idea of creating maps, creating shopper maps. And I think that was part of it. It's just like this whole roping thing was just like so new. There's so much potential. So people were doing that a lot more than just the basic game of Worms.
And this was Worms World Party. So does this mean that Armageddon was the last of the trilogy that you ended up?
Yeah, strangely.
Third time lucky?
Yeah, if I can remember. So I spent about 1.5 years, almost 2 years on Worms World Party before migrating to Armageddon. So like Armageddon, occasionally Armageddon players would leak into the Worms World Party community. And actually, Dave, I'm sure Comito, I'm sure you were one of them. Like I probably saw you.
So I started playing Worms World Party the day it came out. I got it the day it came out, and when I went on there, so my name on Worms Armageddon is the Komodo, or nowadays Comito, And on Worms World Party, it was Commodus, or whatever.
I don't remember that.
And you might have saw a name called KSP, and that was a ridiculous name I made up because I was a fan of the Gladiator film. So the name was Commodus Serentus Proximus.
Whoa.
A stupid name, so I just wrote KSP for short. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, I don't remember that.
From the people who sort of migrated from Armageddon to World Party, or snuck in or whatever. I mean, what was the perception of World Party in comparison to Armageddon at the time? Because I never played a World Party until a few years ago. So
this isn't a question. So Mablak can answer that from the other perspective, going from Worms
that's what I'm
Party
interested
to Worms
Armageddon. From
the
Worms World Party perspective, I think a lot of us sort of perceived the Worms Armageddon players as being a little bit better, mostly at roping. It was understood that a lot of the Armageddon players had started earlier and been there longer, or maybe they even came from Worms too. So there was some respect that we put on these Armageddon players, and I mean they would prove it too. There would be players like Fiery Death, I want to say, Anubis, some players with some really maybe Salty Canine, I'm not sure, but these were players who whose roping skills even to this day are freakishly good. And
Happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean there's a lot of names, but yeah, there were clans like Natural Born Ropers, Harvesters of Sorrow, Elite, Immortal Forces, EIF, had Scorpion, I think Fiery Death maybe was in that, but Ilaz was another one. Just people who could rope insanely fast, basically. They would show up and slightly own us, and we'd be like, okay. That was probably part of the reason I eventually migrated to Armageddon. I just heard the rumors. I saw the proof.
Back then, that was in the days of CL2K and WACL, otherwise known as Wackle. And so Worms Armageddon were really good at Roper, Elite, Team 17, and what was the other one? B&G. And then I feel like it was actually the players on Worms World Party who took Intermediate to the next level through the CWT NNN clan. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it may have started there, because one thing I do remember is Bytor. And I know we talked about him, I think, when we interviewed Dario. But yeah, Bytor was this rather unsavory individual. He was a bit rude, let's say. In other words, I played him many times, but every time I joined his game, he would be like, "Are you pro?" And I'd take a turn. I'd take a long turn when I'm playing him. Then he writes ZZZZZ in chat, stuff like that. But the thing is, he was insanely good at Intermediate, and we were all like, "Why is this guy so good?" It was like he was taking it extra seriously on a level that we didn't quite understand. I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm good. I'm taking out his worms, but somehow he's coming up on top." And it was clear that he just had some methodology to playing Intermediate, which we weren't understanding. And he also took it really seriously, even though it didn't seem that way until you played him,
I mean, you say taking it seriously, but there's something kind of flippant about just berating someone in chat by just typing a lot of Zs, so.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't quite the level of your standard shit talker or troller, but he was kind of just abrasive and rude and stuff, but he had the skills to back it up. So that's the kind of thing that really eggs you on. And I think being egged on kind of made me improve my game.
Here's an off the cuff question for you. When was the first time you ever beat Bytor? And what was the feeling?
I think it's possible that I beat him like early on, but I didn't feel like I was actually like better than him until, I don't know, probably like a year or two of like playing intermediate a lot. But that didn't happen until like 2000, like way later, like 2007 or 2008 or something. Because like I didn't actually get into intermediate until maybe 2007. Before that, it was just kind of like I would play it sometimes. I wouldn't really accept it as like a legitimate scheme. I'd be like, oh, this is just one of the many quote unquote noob schemes. And I changed my mind on that quite a bit. I think it's one of the best schemes now. It's extremely strategic. I mean, that and Chaos, I think, are two of the most like strategic schemes. They have like the highest skill ceiling. Not on the level of chess, but pretty. Yeah. There's some pretty advanced stuff.
So talking about
how far? Sorry, go on. You go.
No, on you go, Ruffle.
No, I was going to say, how far below chess would you rank Worms Armageddon in the world's most labor-intensive strategy games?
That is a really good question. I think it's like, well, if you took the game as a whole, like the entire Worms Armageddon game,
it's much more challenging.
Yeah, I mean, you could say it's beyond chess. It's beyond most things, because you could spend your whole life trying to get good at like every scheme out there, and you can never really say that you're like perfectly good at the entire game. It's just too fast.
Even Magnus Carlsen wouldn't be able to remember everything. It's just impossible.
Yeah, it's like you have to. There's so many different schemes. You would have to like put your brain into different modes.
And that's even if you just focus on a lot of people won't know what we're talking about here, but on the TUS website, the Ultimate site, which is the main league, you've got something like 13 schemes that are classic schemes, which are the most popular, and then you've got about 22 or something TUS 3 league schemes, which are like, so if you think of the all-round as the Premier League, and then you've got like the first division, which is the next step below that, then you've got like so many schemes. It's like you've got something like 35 schemes altogether. Even just to master all those takes an unbelievable amount of effort, practice, patience, memory, skill, talent. It's incredible the depth that this game's got.
Yeah, it's pretty astonishing. I mean, like, if you were to just create a random scheme right now, it could be something that's like really easy to play, or it could be something that takes like, years to master. And like some of your other worm skills will cross over and apply to any scheme, but it's like a lot of times you gotta just relearn stuff from scratch too. So, but anyway, going back to the question, if we were just talking about like intermediate, I think intermediate's like maybe like a quarter as skillful as chess, or like maybe half as skillful if we're being generous. But I mean, you don't have to memorize openings. You don't have to like study Worms books, in the same way that you would have to study like chess books and stuff.
I guess the comparison there, like to studying openings, would be studying the mechanics of each weapon itself, probably.
There's that. I mean, yeah, there's stuff you can actually I mean, there's a lot of game mechanics that you got to know.
I've got another off-the-cuff question here for you. I've got so many. There's going to be so many things we want to talk about, because these three are just so good to talk about. But so, which scheme do you think is the fastest to learn, and which scheme do you think is the longest to learn? Even though both probably take the same amount of time to master.
Okay, fastest to learn. I feel like it might be something that's like not really strategically complicated. Probably like Shopper. I mean, maybe not wall-to-wall Shopper, because you do have to be pretty good at roping.
Yeah,
get good at that. But just like a casual Shopper, I mean, like there's only so much strategy. You get the crate, you attack. There's some positioning of your worms you gotta figure out. And you do have to think about like turn order abuse, where if your opponent has fewer worms than you, that can be a problem. They can just like pile with your worms, which is something common to all worms games. But I guess I would say maybe that.
Is
But
there,
the
is there an
longest,
argument that can be made? Sorry to interrupt, but is there an argument that can be made against that, which is that because of the way Shopper works, and you are getting like random weapons out of these crates, that the actual amount of practice you're getting with each weapon is not as focused as it would be.
that's true.
So you're not
It's not,
necessarily learning these
yeah,
weapons quite in the same way as you would be if you were, say, doing B&G or something, or even intermediate.
definitely. Yeah, you can I mean, any given weapon, there's lots and lots of intricacies to every weapon. I feel like in Shopper, like if you just know the damage that each weapon does, you're for the most part like pretty good. But you can always improve it, like flamethrower, or like knowing bat distances, or what else? Just knowing how to use weapons in like small spaces. I forget. I mean, it depends what version of Chopper you use. Like a competitive version doesn't even have that many weapons. It's pretty limited. Like
Okay.
there's no like super weapons really. So
Right.
there's that. But I think the longest to learn scheme would be either I think intermediate or chaos. But there is a different category. There's also rope race, which I mean I feel like with rope race you can also improve your whole life basically.
Yeah.
But like once you get to like a certain level, it's like really minor improvements. There's a cap there.
That's a really interesting thing to me about time trial rope race and big rope race. They're both completely different to learn. I'd say
they're quite different.
They've both got really different styles. Like TTRR is like really finicky in tight spaces, and big rope races more learning how to keep going as fast as possible because you've got an open space, so you've got to keep that speed. But both schemes, if you think about it, if you get the tool assist and do a tool assist through any of those maps, no human is ever going to reach the level of tool assist. It's just humanly impossible that we know right now. So there's like you could think of it as like an infinite skill cap for rope. Like there is no limit to how good you can get as a human. So it's just crazy when you see people pull off those really, really good turns. It's so impressive.
Yeah.
Even more so when you understand what's going on.
Yeah, and well, I've been playing a lot of Getting Over It lately, which I feel has a lot of similarities to just rope racing. But the thing about that is there is just one map, and because of that, people get like insanely good at just managing every little corner and every little tiny part of the map, which I mean, that's even that alone. Like if we really wanted to, like all rope racers could just play one map and we would probably get like freakishly good at it. We've never really like we've had lots of time trial challenges on different maps, but we've never had like an insane focus on just one map, which I don't know. If we said like, okay guys, we're only going to play one map from now on, we would probably all get like super good at that too. So I mean like it does basically what I'm saying is like having played Getting Over It, it's like I can see like there's for these finicky physics type games, it's like there's always like a really, really high skill cap.
Oh, yeah, because that's the interesting thing about rope as well, like Mablak says, is it's all different maps, which in a way really helps you to get better at, like, because it's sort of like, and even every time you play it, because the game's so, I would say, fluid and dynamic's probably the best way I can think of it. Every single move you do, following up with the next move, you're just trying to, I don't know how to explain this properly, but it's like the path you take is going to be different every single time because your timing can never be that perfect, because it's like the frame cap on the game is just insane compared to like some other games that you get.
I would call it compensation. So you have to you can't follow the exact same path. You have to know how to compensate.
That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, so like that's a big part of rope racing that it's like you don't have to worry so much. Like if you want to get a perfect, TTRR challenge time, like you don't have to worry like about executing every move perfectly. You want to get the transitions to be really fast between like, alleys and climbs. And you want to make sure that like you're basically just, if you've played a lot of rope race, you know how to compensate when you mess up. And that's a huge part of it. Like that's crucial.
I wanted to ask, because I was just looking at some footage of getting over it whilst we were talking there, and I can see the similarities, because you talked about how roping was the thing that you were first really fascinated with about Worms.
Oh yeah,
and getting over it looks very rope-like in its maneuvering there. So my question I've got is that, like, around about the time you started getting into Worms, or like before it or around it or whatever, what other games were you playing, and did you kind of take anything from those? Were there things about those that you thought, oh, Worms does this but so much more? This is why I prefer Worms to this now.
Interestingly, I mean, I think it's hard to say there's any game quite like Worms. There's always Lemmings, but I didn't really play that before playing Worms. I can't say there's anything like super similar that I played, but I was playing like Red Alert at the time. I was playing Smash Bros. Probably.
Red Alert, Command and Conquer,
Yeah. I mean, that could have improved my brain a little bit. I'm also playing, the past couple weeks, I've been playing Red Alert directly with like some of my friends. It's so fun. Like you can just download Red Alert 1 for free on cncnet.org. Highly recommend it. But I mean, there was nothing strategic. I had no strategic background whatsoever, aside from like some random Red Alert games. But yeah, there wasn't, I played a lot of Super Nintendo, Super Metroid, all the classics, a lot of N64, mostly Nintendo based stuff. But there was nothing quite like roping or strategic oriented that I was playing at all. Right. I guess I should also mention, like, it was probably a year and a half or 2 years into even playing Worms World Party that I actually started playing like Elite or Intermediate or other schemes that even had strategy. So like there was a whole part of my brain that I didn't even like attempt to unlock.
It's just sitting there dormant.
Pretty much. Yeah. Actually I could talk about the first, I remember the first Elite tournament that I entered on Worms World Party. Well, I can remember like one thing from that. So there's this guy Wizworm, aka Wiz.
I remember Wiz.
Wiz, he was a great player, but I remember in this Elite tournament, which usually these were just hosted on like weekends or something, and people would just like get into one of the server rooms and they would just play. There was a lot of waiting around, but in those days you could actually organize a tournament and just play it in a day. And yeah, I had never played Elite before at all. It's a really fast-paced scheme. You have 20 seconds, infinite shotgun, only 4 worms. Placing them is important. So anyway, I wasn't very good at the time at all. Like, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But I was kind of like, why haven't I tried this before? Like, I mean, I thought of myself as like not really much of a thinker or strategic individual, but I was like, okay, I'll just I'll give this a try. Like, why not? I have some roping skill already. I know I can play the game well in general. But when I played Wiz, who I think at the time I knew that he was a pretty good player, but I got to a tie with him. So like I was like, oh, I can't win, but I can just I can do a self shotgun and we can tie. And so I did that. And then at the end of the game, he's like, okay, I win because you instigated the tie. And
what?
So
true.
I went along with that because I didn't know. Like, if you tie, it's just a tie.
Got conned.
I did get conned.
You got ripped off.
I got ripped off. I mean, both of us at that time were probably like, I don't know, 13 or 14 years old, I want to say. No hard feelings. But because like I played a lot with Wiz after that too. So and he was cool, but
Hmm.
that was a hilarious case of getting conned. If you tie in worms, it's just a tie. You don't have to finagle about who gets the real win there.
Unless you're doing
Um,
deathmatch, in which case it's a loss.
Oh, yeah,
One,
exactly.
one thing I will say about that, like we do like on the TUS website, there's usually a cup that happens once a year, and it's the Comet Dodging Cup, right? And if you don't know,
yeah,
Comet Dodging's just complete luck. But if both teams die on the same turn, whoever dies first loses.
okay. That's the rare exception. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted to enter that last time.
And
I forgot about that.
that's just
Uh,
the reason for that is just to save time, because sometimes you can get like 8 or 10 draws in a row and it goes on forever.
Oh yeah. Sometimes you're forced to do something about like a tie situation. But,
So to tie into the story with Wiz. By the way, Wiz and which one was the ginger haired kid that ended up doing the bodybuilding? Was that Wiz or Was? Because I always get
that was
those two.
Wiz.
Yeah, Wiz. Yeah, I thought it
Yeah.
was. So, who were some of your first influences and friends in Worms Armageddon?
Yeah, I think I did make some on Worms World Party to start with, and some of them just came over with me at some point. On Worms World Party, I know that I hung out a lot with, let's see, people from the Noob clan, Andy, Odo. There was Moose. Moose was an exceptional roper from Canada. He kind of on the nose there, but
I remember Moose.
Yeah.
if people remember Moose, he was he taught me a lot about roping. He was always a little bit better than me for a while, and then I think eventually I got better than him. But he was like definitely like someone I would play with, and I'd be like, "Damn, this guy's good. I gotta like keep improving." What did he teach? He had a specialty, which was the wall shadow. If anyone knows that move, I should do some more roping tutorials. But like you just get your worm pressed up against a wall and then like do a shadow off of it. Yeah, it's hard to explain.
From what I think, it's kind of like if you're roping along and is it when you bounce off it at an angle and then you do a shadow. Mm-hmm. So you shadow from the wall, not like you're bouncing off the wall and then you do a shadow.
Yeah, I wish I could diagram it with my hands.
Yeah.
Okay, you're here. You hang off. Your rope is like this.
Yeah.
Then you bounce off just a little bit and do a shadow, right?
Yeah.
Anyway. There was who else in Worms World Party? There was Leviathan. There were some people in the OAP clan, Old Age pros.
Bud.
And there were two. Yeah.
How old were the old age?
They were.
Is that a literal name or was it?
Yeah. So back in like the year 2000 in Worms Armageddon, they were probably about 40 years old, 50 years old, and I think one or two of them were maybe close to their 60s. So yeah, they were hella old.
Oh, cool.
I didn't even know how old they were. I was just like, wow. Like at that time, I would have been like over 18. Wow, that's old. That's fucking old.
Yeah.
So like some of those people migrated to Armageddon with me. There's also Physics, Fizix. He was a delightful little gremlin who I hung out with a lot. And he was good, but he was also like he was kind of just a general like funny man, class clown type character. And played a lot of rope. Did a lot of roping with them. All these people, I pretty much just played like warmers, ropers, no intermediate, no elite, not much BNG, a little bit. But all these other schemes didn't really start until Armageddon. But on Armageddon, once I got there, I think one of the biggest influences to start with was this guy named Pure. So, and there's a bit of a story with Pure. So like, okay, he was an exceptional roper.
His original name was Magic. I'm sure that was an alias.
Pure was the most aliasy person to ever exist.
Yeah.
So he started a clan called QP, and Rope Racers probably know those maps, the QP maps.
Yeah.
They're really good. But he had, Goose, Hollow. There were about 7 people in this QP clan, Pure. They were all the same person. They were all this one guy called Pure. His real name was like Ryan or something. But so he was going around WormNet hosting warmers. He would have like 7 aliases. They would all pile into the game. Sometimes other people wouldn't even join the game. It was all just him. And
Wait,
it was all to create an air of mystery and prestige. And it was very strange in retrospect, but I mean, yeah, we were teenagers at the time.
This was effectively worm catfishing, was it, or something?
Oh yeah.
I mean, he didn't really like lure.
Well,
the
no.
purpose
I
of
mean,
it, I think-
I'm being slightly metaphorical here, like
Yeah,
for legal purposes. But
right, as far as I know, he didn't like do any weird, luring of people, or anything nefarious. It was just he just wanted to create this like mysterious clan. People would like see these players and be like, "Whoa, oh my god, how are all these guys so good?" They were all the same guy.
right, yeah.
Which it's possible to do that in a turn-based game, I guess. You can just be like one player, and then next player goes, that's you again.
You just
so I
try
play
and
these guys
outsmart yourself, like
right,
like that Pixar short of the old guy playing chess with himself.
Yeah. It was very weird, and but I mean, people were like, I was mystified by it. I was like, who are all these good players? Maybe I want to join this QP clan. And he really incentivized me to get a lot better at roping. This guy, this alias master Pure, he was just exceptionally good at roping. Like, I think even today you would like, I do have replays of him. I haven't looked back at them, but he just had like really, really stylish moves. Like he was all about style. We play warmers. It wasn't so much about speed. It was just about like executing a whole bunch of moves really fast and looking cool. So to compare it to something, roping at the time was like skateboarding or hacky sack. You just you go into a warmer, you do your moves, you show off, you try to be cool. And coolness was driving it. It was like we all wanted to.
So for those who might be confused, like I said, think of it as skating, and warmers are like the freestyle of roping.
Exactly. So we were all on a quest to impress each other, basically. So there was no formal competition when it came to warming, but there was like this whole prestige about it, and in that sense, it was competitive. It was very like you had to like play well, even though it was just a practice game where you were showing off moves. But playing against that guy in particular was it really helped me improve a lot. Like he was just exceptionally good. And I forget when he revealed that he was just aliasing the whole time, but it was probably around like 2004, 2005. I'm not sure, but it was a bit of a shock. I don't think anyone was like super mad at him or anything. It was just weird. We were like, why'd you do that? Like,
did anyone suspect it? Like whether people
I think
thought,
so. I mean, I want to say someone like managed to, maybe it was like Lex, because I know Lex hung out with that guy at some point in real life. Maybe Lex was just Pure all along. No, the thing is, you can tell everyone's roping has a fingerprint to it, so like I could tell he was his own guy. There's no one else with that style of roping. There were many other aliasers though. Like he was not the only crazy. Anubis was also.
Have you ever thought about aliasing yourself?
Gren says a lot there.
Just
there was,
that is a smile of a guilty man right there.
Well, okay, I aliased like I want to say like 2 times when I was like, I don't know. I was like probably like 17 or 18. But one of them, I think one of the times might have been with who else was in it? It might have been Anubis. Maybe Pure was in that too, but it was this clan called AP, not to be confused with QP. But it was the same thing. It was just like it was for a couple months. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to try doing this totally different roping style where I just tap as much as I can and see if that see if I can surprise anybody. It was like purely for the thrill of like seeing people's reactions, like who is this guy? Like stuff like that. Yeah, never did that in like competitions or anything. That would be kind of lame. But just to mess about. Yeah, maybe that guy influenced me to want to alias. Like I saw him and I was like, oh, okay, all the cool people alias. I need to do that for a little while. But aside from like a couple months, maybe I've just been like Mablak.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was just off that question there. I'm going to ask, and this may be a little bit of a personal question, so feel free to pass it up. But how important is it to you in worming to be seen as cool?
Oh, cool. Well, I mean, I'm not really that cool of a person in general, so I can't control it. But I think that was kind of the thing that motivated me to start with. Like, when I think about my motivations to be good at the game, it was pretty much 100% to impress these good players that I played with.
Yeah.
I mean, that was. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's just kind of how it started.
I'm sort of with you on that, Mablak. Like I see, so when I started, I was like 13 years old, and I remember like one of the to me the coolest player ever was Link. If you remember Link from Hose,
I'm sure I played with him. Yeah.
At no point did I ever think to myself, I want to be cool like him. But I did always aim to be impressive. I wanted to be one of the best. I wanted to be impressive like that. I wanted to be someone that others were inspired by. That was something that I aimed towards. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
I think like when you were a teenager, you don't necessarily consciously realize it as much. But looking back, it's like, I really wanted to impress these guys. Mostly in the domain of roping.
Looking back, I was good, but I was a complete and utter idiot. So
I can relate a bit.
Some of the things I used to say, so bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we were probably all a bit cockier back then.
And that was in the days we grew up with like rap music, and let's just leave it at that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, another reason I liked this guy Pure was because we both really liked the Smashing Pumpkins. We were just really into that. I was like, oh wow, he knows that one James Eha guitar solo. Yeah, this guy's cool. I need to get on his level.
Smashing Pumpkins, who are they again? What songs did they do that I might know?
Who were they? Oh, well, they were good. Yeah, the ball guy. Oh, they had a lot of hits in the 90s, but after that they got pretty bad. But Rat in a Cage would be the Bullet with Butterfly Wings.
1973 says Foxhound in the chat. Is that the name of a song, or is that when they were formed?
1979. 1979 is the name of a song by them. It's still a good song. Some of their songs hold up, some don't.
Yes, and at the end of this, we will ask you to go through every single Smashing Pumpkin song that holds up.
Yeah.
Oh god,
and everyone that doesn't.
We all know you're a singer, so you're gonna have to give us a little ballad.
Oh god.
No, it's a shoegaze singer. It's fine. Like he hasn't got his reverb with him, so
Yeah, you're right. I don't have my pedals. I need my pedals.
Do you have any more influences and friends you want to talk about before moving on, or?
There's probably a lot that will just kind of pop up as we go. Like there's so many. I'll just assume I'll get to more of them as we go.
Do you have any questions, Ruffle Bricks?
Yeah, I was going to say, so I guess the time period we've been talking about thus far has still been kind of early noughties. Is that fair to say at this point?
Yeah,
Or-
so far it's mostly been like 2000 to 2005 or
Yeah.
so.
And I think, unlike myself, is it you've consistently played Worms Armageddon kind of since that?
Yeah,
point?
yeah. I've basically played the entire time. There's been a few like breaks. Like I definitely took a break around like 2016 or something to work a little more on music. But yeah, for me there's been like hardly any breaks. I've at least played a little bit throughout the whole time. So usually
Yeah.
migrating from one scheme to another.
Mm.
Less
Well,
less roping these days.
what I'm trying to get a sense of is kind of like the timeline, because I think a lot of Kamito's questions are largely kind of league oriented, and what I'm trying to get a sense is when the speed run stuff started to come into play.
The speed running is like, at this point it's like the tail end.
Yeah.
But I want to say it started around 2016.
Okay.
Really?
So-
I thought you were involved in speedrunning way before that. Like, I remember this is something that Mental would know a lot more about, but Lex, Mental, KRD, and some other players, they were responsible for the routing and the speedrun. They came up with all the original best methods. Some of them are still used, I believe.
I think well, when I started on the I could talk about like the mission speed run. So I want to say that we had a bunch of individual level strats for the Worms Armageddon missions, and some of those we're still using for sure. I'd say like maybe I'd say like less than half of the levels though use those individual level strats. I can't say the exact number, but there were a lot that like Lex and I mean, if you go to the worms2d.info missions
Yeah, I've
page,
got it here.
you'll see a lot of these people.
Yeah.
So I got Dead Code.
Dead Code,
on a lot of them. C a Cool, I believe, or COO1.
Yeah, he was a good
Feature.
player. I think he was Mexican, maybe.
Mm.
Cool. He was in the
Yeah,
VW clan, I think.
Cool was really good. He was one of the best ropers for the scheme roper, as in pro roper. He was just cool under pressure.
Ooh.
He was like Volcom in a lot of aspects. Like, his style was very, very, very solid. Wasn't the fastest, as in tapping and stuff, but really, really just godlikely consistent. Just really good.
He was pretty good.
At the time that you got into that, then Mablak, like, so, because obviously, you know, the brute has come a long way.
Yeah.
Since before.
Absolutely.
But I mean, how much of it was, you know, if you were to give it a rough percentage when you started getting involved, how much of what's in the current route do you reckon was kind of done by the time that you got into it?
It's like, well, it's kind of hard to say because I mean, like some of the methods like really had to be totally adapted so that we could actually do them repeatably. That was the main thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's like even the first mission, Pumpkin Problems, it's like, okay, the big mexi that existed. You know, people knew how to do that, but like there was still more work to be done. Like, because like, you know, I came up with the whole like you do a couple jumps, then you aim your rope to an exact angle, and then you can just get the mexi if you time things correctly. So that was kind of like an addition to something that already existed. It's kind of hard to say.
Yeah.
But I did have to come up with a lot of strats, I must say.
But when you were talking about like making the strats repeatable, because we talk about the fact that it was a lot of IL runs initially, I think, and not so many full length runs. In fact, I don't know. Yeah, well, exactly. I don't think until Peachy that anyone ever really sort of recorded a full front to back run of it.
Yeah.
So, in terms of where you were at with that, was it just kind of like, well, these need to be repeatable so that we can actually do it long form? Or
yeah, well, yeah, that was I mean, it was my first attempt at like routing a run. I didn't know anything about speed running like at the time when I was like starting this, which I'll just ballpark it at like it was
See,
2015 maybe.
You were
2014.
already really good at optimizing things due to your TTRR experience, so you were already somewhat familiar with how do you go about coming up with the best routing, so routing it and optimizing it. So you had that
like,
little bit of experience, I would say.
Yeah, there were some elements of like worms that gave me some experience. Like there were like we had some cool challenges. Like Dario had this really cool puzzle that he made, the gray matter challenge, where you just have to like get your worms from one part of the map to the other and do some crazy shit. So like I think I felt like I did have some puzzle solving mechanics.
Yeah.
And that I knew the physics really well and like just like all the little intricacies of the game. So like I felt like if someone can optimize this thing, it's got to be me. So I have to do it. And I was noticing like why hasn't this been done before on these levels? Like we got this cool shot we can do on floodgates, like stuff like that, or like the fire punch on the chateau mission. I was just like, wait, why? Like, there's a lot to discover here, and it started to get really fun because I was like, wait, how far can this go? And like some of the missions we had no idea, but they became like one turners or like two turners. Like drop zone, like I don't think we expected that to become like it's what, a two turner now. And the one where we're like firing, like the worms are all on the left side on their little islands, and we have to like fire shotguns at them.
Yeah, that's a drop zone.
Yeah, but yeah, I think well, I went through all the missions. I really wanted to make it perfect. I don't always want to perfect things, but I wanted to get through all the missions and actually have like the perfect strategy because I thought it was possible. I thought it was possible to, just given the nature of worms, that this is something we can actually perfect. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see if we can come up with like the actual like 100% optimal strategy for each of these missions. I think maybe we're like, we never know for sure, right? But we've got to be pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, you never know. Like, that someone may stumble upon a mechanic that just blows the game wide open.
That's always possible.
That's what happened when Mental just suddenly came in and said, like, well, Armageddon's engine works very similarly to Worms 2, so you can do that frame perfect stuff here as well.
Exactly. The frame, that's actually a really interesting thing because like this whole frame perfect thing where like if you execute the exact same like inputs in the exact same way, you'll be able to control the RNG. That could technically have no bounds, right?
Yeah.
Like if we spent our lives like trying to like do a certain route just so we could get this RNG, maybe we could control that. There's a few cases like throwing banana bombs where that could do something.
Yeah.
Do you know what you need?
But it's so hard. It's really hard.
You need someone who, like, some sort of genius. Because I don't know the names of the games, but because I've watched like Carl Jobst and Summoning Salt and stuff like that, they mentioned, I think it was for Super Mario, where there was some sort of programmer who was able to test things without necessarily doing them or set up to do it automatically. It'd be great if you could have someone do that for Worms Armageddon. Just try lots of different random things to see what happens and see if anything's repeatable to any variation, really.
It's strange because like there are, I mean, some of the biggest speedrun strats that have been found for other games haven't necessarily been from the people who actually run them.
Yeah.
Like you look at like Final Fantasy VII, for example, a lot of the big developments that have happened in that run over the years have been kind of from like not from runners themselves, but from like just casual well, casual watchers is probably selling it short, but people who like
Yeah.
have just kind of tinkered around with certain things in the game and
Yeah.
just found stuff and say like, oh, you should be able to make this work, and then suddenly you're just cutting out like huge chunks of the game.
Has that ever
It's
happened for your speedrunning?
No, we haven't really had anyone do that. I guess we've had like, I mean, who's the guy who made the auto splitter for us? That's the closest I can think of at the moment.
A Desgeg.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, was
Yeah.
Desgeg was a runner? Was he, or was he not?
I don't know if he did any running.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting if he submitted anything.
But we haven't really had any sort of like angel investors as far as the routing. I
think it's partly because Worms Armageddon is in this unique situation. It's like there have been so many people, like we've discovered pretty much all the glitches over the past like 20 years. So like we had this huge amount of time before we started doing the runs where it's like, okay, if there was some crazy glitch, we would have, found it already. In fact, Deadcode would have patched it up already.
Yeah,
and there
he
were
doesn't like us having fun, really.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there were a bunch of really crazy glitches that he did patch already, like the girder through land glitch. If you just place a girder while you're on rope, and it intersects with land, the worm will just drop through into the water. That was that would have been maybe fun to use actually, but
and it's I've been thinking about that over the years because like there are other games like Hollow Knight, for example, where you can down patch the game so that you're playing on an earlier patch, and most of the speedrunners in Hollow Knight do use an earlier patch compared to the one that we currently have. But
I mean, we should allow it. It's just the whole issue is like the game won't run on like pretty much any system.
No, that's the big problem with it. But I wouldn't be against that in theory, because it means things like the Super Sheep to the Rescue glitch, where you can, I mean, it's not a huge time save, but just blow the sheep up immediately and you're done. So,
I mean, I'm down with that stuff. I'd like to see it at least, or I don't even know how I would play the original like game. I could use an old computer that's that I have sitting around. If I can get it to work, but I don't know. But yeah, I think there was one time Hollow gave me a suggestion just while I was running the training, and it was just do a full power shot on one of the last trainings to hit one of the targets, which I wasn't even doing, and it saves like a second. But yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot of that kind of like, community, what should we call it? Like,
kind of work, focus grouping.
Focus group. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, basically, usually we just get unfocused grouping. It's just people in YouTube comments saying things like, "Oh, you should bounce a grenade off a girder there," and it's kind of like, "Oh, can you tell me more about that, please?" And then it's just tumbleweed. That person magically disappears from the internet.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Those comments are, they usually don't lead anywhere. They're usually just bit of hot air.
Fancy B&G skills are only really useful in actual matches, like, and that's usually if you get pushed, it's good to know varieties of shots so you can still get a shot off. That's about it.
But no, I was discussing this with my community recently. There was a YouTube commenter that has given both me and Mablak the third degree on our speedruns, who's just unsolicitedly posted paragraphs of feedback for us, kind of expecting us to.
I know this sounds random, but their name isn't Andrew, is it?
No, they're not a wormer, as far as I know.
I don't think so.
Like I've seen them. I've seen them posting under like Hollow Knight first playthroughs as well, and they've just kind of like found their way.
Just what they. I mean, maybe that's their way of just motivating people, to do better.
I don't know.
They're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna say some shit, and maybe that will
Do you
put
know
some
what's,
fire under this person's ass.
what's probably happened is they've probably watched you do something in the past and they're thinking, what if they do the same sort of thing? And it's like, but you would have thought of that.
It's strange. You sort of like, I don't know how you feel about this, Mablak, but you kind of sort of like, on the one hand, it's like, well, they clearly haven't seen everything I've done. But on the other hand, you sort of like think like, well, how are they supposed to know? Like,
yeah. I mean, it's because I mean, yeah, a lot of the stuff where it's like, oh, you should just do this or that. It's like sometimes those comments are like correct in a sense. Like if I had superpowers, yes, I would do all these things in a turn. But yeah, you just have to play the game.
Has anybody, and this is a question for both of you, I suppose, has anybody actually made a comment, oh, have you tried this? And then you've actually tried it and it's been better? Has that ever happened?
Yes. One thing recently that's come up, I mean, I'm still working on this, but so I did a tier list of where I ranked every weapon from the intermediate scheme, but I did it as a kind of like every weapon from deathmatch, because obviously that was my bias. And I put mortar in the bottom tier because I just thought it was absolutely useless junk. And someone in my comments was emphatic. It was kind of like, no, you can do a cluster trick style thing with the mortar. And I kind of shrugged it off initially, but they were just really insistent upon it. So I started doing some testing, and I spoke to Mablak about it. And I think Mablak kind of found that, like, if you stand on the right-hand side of a worm's head and aim downwards,
the right side.
You can consistently get like about 70 to 75 from a mortar.
It's
and you don't do too much damage to your own worms. So actually, that's something I'm trying to implement a lot more into my speed runs at the moment, because it's useful for saving dynamites and sheep and stuff like that, and cluster tricks as well, which obviously have the 2 grave damages.
It's like, I think like if the worm has a little bit above like 50 health, that's probably a good time to try it.
Yeah.
But maybe not if it's like, 80 health or something.
But that's like the one time I can think of where a YouTube commenter has genuinely had their finger on the pulse. Like they've actually had a good idea that can be used for speed runs. Beyond that, though, no, we haven't really had much.
It's pretty rare.
Yeah, and it's not to say that I don't want to dissuade people who watch this stuff from offering suggestions like that, because I'm genuinely, and I have this with any of my things that I do, not just worms, but like I'm generally happy to hear feedback on the stuff that I do. I reserve the right to not implement it.
Oh yeah.
But I am happy to hear even someone who doesn't know a lot about what I'm doing, like suggest, how they perceive it and what they think could be improved.
Sometimes it could be really good to have, like, no other way to say it, a complete and utter idiot that's never played the game give you a suggestion, because you never know.
Absolutely.
Just thinking outside the box could lead to... That's why I always say there's no such thing as a bad idea. Because all bad ideas lead to understanding why it's bad, which can lead to, well, this is why it's bad, because A, we already have something that works, or B, because that wouldn't work and this is what would work, and oh, actually I could try that. So yeah, I like all sorts of suggestions like that.
Yeah, I'll welcome any suggestions, but I will not necessarily act on them.
I wonder who that's aimed at from Watcher. Launch yourself off a barrel with a mortar.
I think Watcher might just be spitballing, but I could be wrong there. But yeah, so around about 2016, Mablak, is when you kind of got involved with the speed running.
It was. I mean, I think that was like I was kind of just posting the routes on TUS, TUS-WA.com. But I kind of, I basically routed everything, not like perfectly, because we've come up with strats since then. But I got a pretty good route. and I did maybe like a full run or two, but I didn't stream it. I didn't even have a good computer at the time. And like then I was just like, okay, what do I do from here? I'm asking people if they want to join in, if they want to like speed run it with me, but nobody was biting. Like I couldn't find anybody who wanted to run the game. So like I completed the routing and then I just didn't run it because I was like, wow, this is kind of depressing. There's like nobody. There's lots of good players who would be like perfectly good at this, but no one's actually interested in taking the time to like learn it. So I didn't even complete writing, like, I think on TUS I only got about like halfway through writing out all the strats. Like I didn't even complete that part until like, I don't know, later, until you started running basically.
So I have my own theories about this, but I'd like to know your take on this. Why do you think people weren't interested in the speedrun side of Worms Armageddon?
I think, well, I'm seeing it with the other Worms games too a bit. Like, some people will like flock in and be interested in like doing a few of the missions, like one at a time.
Yeah.
Because that's like, you can do that in a day. You can,
I've got the answer.
Yeah.
Because Mablak's already done it.
Well, I mean, it's possible.
The thing is, that's not always the case. I mean, I've seen people like kind of all doe-eyed and whatnot, happy speed running their Worms game, and then Mablak just cruises in, and suddenly your Discord is full of absolutely unhinged rants from a guy who's very upset at how readily he's taken to these new physics, and it's yeah, I so I don't think you can blame Mablak for all the reasons why people have given it a wide berth.
There is that. Typically, if I like enter the fray, I'm making things harder for people. But
see if I'm honest, it's literally, I know there are other players doing it, but you two are the only ones I've seen who do it consistently. Like I saw Psychotropic doing it, I saw Chicken23 doing it, I saw Senator doing it. I even think Old Sock had an attempt at it.
Some people were a little more interested in deathmatch because you don't have to like spend all this time memorizing shit.
Yeah.
And Corey Dex was the first person to do a full deathmatch run, so he kind of got us into it.
He's a legend. He's really good.
And it was weird. Corey Dex, very weird with Corey Dex's thing, and I've always been curious as to why this is, because I'm looking at speedrun.com right now, and his speedrun of Deathmatch was never assigned to his name. It was actually posted by Peachy on his behalf. Does anyone ever know why that was?
That's weird.
Because he actually submitted his own reverse Deathmatch run to the board, but that one is just not assigned to him for whatever reason.
Why would? I don't know why you wouldn't submit it yourself.
This is an issue I have with. It must be Windows 11 because I never had it with Windows 10. But usually, while doing the interviews before I upgraded to Windows 11, I could do like what Ruffled Bricks is doing and have on my second screen do some research but for example, if I click and start looking, you guys disappear if I load up another window. So, oh wait, it's came back.
Hey,
and it's went away again.
No, it's fine. There was just a big cloud that passed over. So all the light went temporarily.
Yeah. So I can't do that. I just need to leave it like that so you guys don't disappear.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but this is not. I like the idea that Mablak and I can just sacrifice our visuals so that Kamito can learn something.
Yes, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm happy to take the bullet on that one.
I wonder if I do that, I put that there. Yeah, I think that's fine if I drag that over to the main screen, but then I can't keep an eye on the stream, which is not very good.
Your dragging actually makes me feel like you're operating the camera on Mablak's deathmatch run there. So
that actually works if I have it windowed instead of full screen. That works.
But I had a theory, Mablak, about why people weren't really into the speedrunning side of it. And tell me whether or not you agree with this. But you were talking earlier about how a lot of the way you approached worms was wanting to be seen as cool by certain people. And
Pretty much.
and I think certainly until recently, I don't even know if it's really changed much, but there doesn't seem to be much cool about speedrunning worms.
I mean,
You know?
it's what's like possibly one of the top 10 nerdiest things you can do. But I think I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say speedrunning is cooler now. I think it was perceived as like some sort of weird. You had to be like some kind of computer programmer to even like do it before, some years back, or like you had to have some intricate, knowledge of like the inner workings of a game to even do it. I mean, you don't have to have that much knowledge. It helps to have some, but if you just like, if you're just like aware of the glitches that exist in the game, anyone can do speedrunning. It's like, I mean, I kind of thought that too before I started. I was like, oh god, I'm gonna have to like know how to like fucking warp skip through the game. But I mean, if it's a good game, there might not even be a warp skip. Like there in Worms, there's no crazy shit like that, as far as we know.
See, I tried speedrunning once. I tried speedrunning Half-Life, and apparently I think that the boy that came on, he was like number 6 in the world or something at Half-Life, and he was sort of telling me what to do, like what files to get and how to set everything up. And it was this thing where it's a training program for jumping, and apparently I'd done that really good. Like first time I got the last jump, and he was like, "Oh, that's pretty good," and I was getting really into it. And then I went on holiday, and I went down to Mental's house, and we played through Skyrim. And then by the time I came home, I was addicted to Skyrim, and I couldn't be bothered with Half-Life anymore. And I'm
so
just
close.
like that. Yeah.
He's a terrible influence, that Mental. Like, he ruined Kamito speed runs. He ruined our routing.
I don't know if Mental really exists. I think he's some kind of alter ego. Maybe
he's all up here, mate. Like Mental's within all of us.
He's a digital figment of the imagination.
Yeah, that's why his name is. Yeah, that's why his name is Mental. It's like just a
But I mean,
like at the end of the movie, you like. Where it's like you're like Mental, you unscramble the words and it's just like the main character's name backwards.
Yeah, exactly.
But like we said, it's like it can sort of be speedrunning can seem like it's much harder than it is. I guess I would say like I don't think it's something that like people should fear or think is a chore or something. It's like it does take time if you're like actually learning something like missions, but it's fun. I mean, it's fun to like. It's like learning a piano recital or something like that. Just like or like learning a party trick,
Yeah,
like you can just like get good at this thing.
It's a skill, and anybody can learn a skill.
Yeah. I guess when I say it wasn't cool, I think what I'm sort of gesturing towards is that, like, I mean, first of all, I don't really know when it felt like there was.
What you're saying is you wouldn't use it as a pickup line.
No, well, I mean, I have, but like,
interesting.
I
want to know more about that now.
Yeah, but we're not interviewing me, so like, this is the Ruffled Bricks Part 2 interview. No, but I mean, because I was just looking up while we were talking there about like when I was trying to see if anyone had a record of like when speed running became popular. Within like the parameters of how popular it is. Like perhaps when did GDQ become as massive as it kind of currently is? I haven't really managed to find anything yet, but it feels like you've probably had this, but the question I got a lot when I told people I ran worms is how do you speed run worms? And being a strategy game, I guess even within the community of worms, I feel like people didn't necessarily perceive it as a speed game in the way that your Sonics and whatnot do.
Exactly. There is that. I mean, that's. I think people are there's been so many games that have been speed ran at this point. People are starting to understand that you can kind of speed run anything, but it is maybe one of the weirdest games to speed run just because it's turn based. Worms are inherently slow creatures. It's something you wouldn't expect, and we do have to constantly explain that you can even do this. But I think I mean, just with all the speedrunning you and I have done, like people are a little more aware, at least. We're seeing a little bit less surprise than we initially did, but surprising people was actually pretty fun. Seeing the reactions at like GDQ, at when you did ESA, those very first reactions, like those should be framed on a wall because they're they were just like
I had recordings of them with the chat log at one point, and they're probably still on my computer somewhere, but those were fascinating, just seeing all the pog champs and whatnot going off when like you just do the strat, like because it's a run, missions in particular is a run that is full of those moments.
Like a lot of these strats, they're repeatable and we can do them like pretty easily, but like just doing them once is like mind-blowing for people, which is it's great.
And I actually I have a question. It's another slightly personal one, so again answer within the realms that you're comfortable. But so my first experience of you, it was Peachy sent me your replays from your full-length speed run. That you did, because I was learning the missions run. Sorry, go on.
I think I don't remember what that, like I might have just uploaded all my replays. I don't remember actually.
It was I believe it was all part of like one continuous run, because there were moments when you some of the replays were like restarts, so
I think that was it. I think it was like I didn't submit a run to speedrun.com or anything, but I had like a run with all the replays. As an example.
So I was kind of like, I looked at Peachy's runs, and Peachy sent me your stuff, and I was talking to her, and I kind of learned how to do the run from that. So my question to you is that, given how I've, what's kind of happened with me with all the speed running and that, do you feel I've stolen your thunder at all?
No. You've only increased the thunder that Worms has. No, I think it's fucking awesome that like a talented fellow such as yourself has popularized it. Because without you, I don't think people would be watching as much Worms in general. Like I'm amazed that like your channel, like you've exploded basically, at least in my what I would consider.
I've stagnated over the last year, but
getting into the multiple thousands is like pretty amazing to me. But no, it's it's more the case that you've created extra thunder for the game that would not otherwise exist. Because God knows I I couldn't play the game and be as entertaining as you or anything like that. I'll try, but
I will say I didn't ask this just to get a ream of compliments from you, but I appreciate them.
I've got a follow-up question to that, because
go for it.
So, will you attempt to beat any of your records in the future, or are you waiting for Ruffle Bricks to beat you so that you can respond in kind?
Well, I think I haven't been doing like the deathmatch speedruns lately, partly because I'm waiting for the patch to come out, because I know that's we're gonna have to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do more running then.
let's so that this is news to me. How is the patch going to affect the
This is
speed
the
run?
rightward bias thing, isn't it? It's because the patch is going to fix that. So that means that the mechanics of deathmatch are going to be a bit different.
It basically means, we're going to have to like have a whole separate category, I think, for like deathmatch and missions, which I know is gonna I'm gonna have to do a lot more running then at which it seems a bit like redundant to have to do the same thing. I mean, there might be some interesting developments that happen from that. Like the missions will have a couple differences potentially. I'm curious about
that's true actually, because there's I remember watching a replay of what's the one with all the tentacles in it?
Horny Nuke.
Horny Nuke, yeah. And the first enemy worm to move in that normally actually goes left in some of the earlier patches of the replays that I've seen.
Interesting.
Which could be a problem. So
for the banana bomb. Oh,
and I'm sure.
Oh wait, the one that gets like in the upper left corner. That guy.
Yeah, that one.
And I'm sure I'm sure we covered this, or we talked about this during Ruffled's interview. But for anybody watching who wasn't around for then, could you just explain quickly what the rightwards bias is, please?
I'll let Mablak do that, as it's his.
Sure. It's pretty simple. The computer worms will always walk to the right, with some rare exceptions. And this wasn't part of the original game. This was something that unfortunately happened as a result of like one of Deadcode's fixes, and he's gonna basically correct it. But it has been part of the game for like quite a long time now. I don't know. I'm fine with it existing, but it's true that it wasn't like actually part of the intended design of the CPU. So it's, from a purist standpoint, we should probably fix it. But
because I remember when I first learned about the rightward bias, because King Hingu had posted a little thing about it on SRC. And I remember reading that, and once I read that, I started noticing, and I was kind of like, wait, was it always like this? I swear I remember the enemies moving left years ago.
Right? I mean, when I read that, I was like, that can't be a thing. But lo and behold, it's really weird, because, I mean, like, even though I played the game for so long, I had very little interaction with the CPU worms aside from, like, missions, so I didn't really know that much about it. Or I didn't really know their behavior super, super well. And playing Worms 2, like, you can see the worms behaving a little more freely, I guess.
Organically,
organic worms, yeah. So, I mean, it could create complications for us. I don't know. Well, we don't quite know how it's going to work with Deathmatch.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Like,
it'll be something different.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just you worry that all your work's just gone down the toilet. I
mean, I think we should, like, we should just make it a separate category so that we still have all the old times at least.
Yeah,
because that would kind of suck if we just like wiped everything. I wouldn't want to do that.
That's what Chicken asked that in chat as well. Would that mean you'd need a new category? And I think because there's certain advantages you can do on one patch that you couldn't on the other. So
I mean, I think that's doable for sure. Oh, but back to the question though. Ruffled, if you beat one of my times, I'll have to do it right away. Well, I mean, you got a great new time though. You got a 145.
I finally got my first 145. My experience generally of getting PBs in Worms Armageddon, PBs that I really like, is that Mablak then just goes into streaming overdrive, and within 48 hours he's magically found like another 3 minutes to beat it. And it's just kind of like, wow, why did I even turn up? But it's like, I don't have to ask you about this, Mablak, because I know I'm not the only one who's received this treatment. Like, you've had this with, like...
Yeah, No, it's not you.
The quick game
It's
thing.
not you. It's me.
Yeah, the quick game thing where someone beat your one quick game record and
I still
you
haven't beat that.
immediately
I need to try that again.
But you
I forgot about that.
you got on back on it within like a day
Yeah,
of
I did
that
try.
happening.
Yeah, that's actually surprisingly hard. I thought that maybe within a couple of days I would find the magic quick game where you get 4 worms. Didn't find it. I mean, it seems like it takes on the order of like tens of thousands of games potentially to find the magic one.
How much does a world record like that mean to you, genuinely? Like, because obviously there's a
that one not so much.
Yeah, because there's a big difference between like the deathmatch and all missions, and then like one quick game.
I mean, I think like mostly the deathmatch and all missions ones. Like, I feel like those are really good categories. So yeah, I wanna have those ones, but you know, yeah, I think well, I'm pretty competitive. As you might know.
Yes,
there is that. But yeah, I think I don't really have like any super set goals. I did kind of want, I kind of want to like at least have like one category, like the main, maybe like the most main category for like a lot of the Worms games. Like I kind of want to have that as a goal, but not necessarily everything. There's a lot of categories too.
But when someone does like get the edge over you, like, is there ever just a small part of you that thinks like, oh, let them have their moment just for a bit, like, or can you just not let them enjoy that? Like,
well, we're still waiting on Mablak reclaiming his TTRR world records on TUS.
Oh, there are some, yeah. No, there's definitely some, there's some rope race records that I haven't tried to reclaim, but actually I did. Well, I did like man, when was it? A couple months ago. I beat a few times. I was gonna be like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna beat all these times in like a week. I beat some of them. I didn't post them. But because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna beat all these times in a week. It didn't happen. There's too many. Like
you've been slacking for a while. You've let too many records climb up, so it's going to be a long road to get that back.
Yeah, well, I beat, I don't know, I beat like 7 or something from some. These are like really old records that no one even cares about. But I do want to, in rope races, I do want to maintain the handful of times that I have. But no, I mean, like, I guess it's a tough question. I mean, yeah, there's some cases where I'm like, I shouldn't go after this record. I have no, it would be like cruel to just like try and beat every Worms record like some kind of psychopath.
Well, how'd you pick that then? There's sort of like some runs that you are perhaps less interested in than others, because I ones that I've noticed is that like you obviously,
I think so.
The big gap in your Worm speedrun CV to me is World Party.
Oh yeah,
which you did a significant amount of. You did a lot of routing for that, but never actually got around to doing a run to it.
It was just, I think it was just the timing. It's like sometimes I'll have like, like my band will have to record and then I get all focused on that. At this point, I'm kind of just going wherever like the passion is. Like if I get really interested in something, I'll just do that. There's too many records out there at this point. Like there's so many games, there's so many records. I'll just go with whatever I'm randomly interested in, I guess.
I think I have similar, because like I had I'm quite momentum based when it comes to this sort of stuff. Like I mean I had it recently with Celeste. I took some, because I was doing the seasides on that, which is some of the hardest stuff as part of the base game, and
I've heard it's hard.
Yeah, and I took over a month off of doing that on my stream, and then I tried coming back to it the other week, and I couldn't bear it. Like the momentum that I had was gone, because I'd just been distracted by other stuff. So sounds maybe like you had your moment perhaps where you were rooting something, but then You got banned
Yeah.
stuff or like perhaps the other stuff, and
Yeah. Or I think with Worms Reloaded, well, I did like GDQ, and right after GDQ, I was like, well, I did like the biggest thing I could with this missions category. So I was like, I think I might have squeezed all the juice I could out of the missions. There's actually still more to route in that though. There's like there's the forts mode.
there's 5 at the end as well. The post ending
Oh yeah,
missions as
there's
well.
the extra 5 missions, which I pretty much haven't touched. All I remember is I went into one of those missions, and it almost instantly soft locked.
Oh,
the
really?
game. I was like, okay, well, that's fun.
Soft locks. So not like
I don't. Yeah, this was a bug that I didn't fully. I never found an explanation for it, but I think it was just one of the computer. It was just one of the computer worms like wouldn't move, and I didn't know why.
Oh, right. Okay.
Couldn't help me in any way. It just froze the game. So
I actually did want to ask you about GDQ because
yeah.
So we've both had the privilege of doing Worms runs on GDQ, but you are to date the only Worms speedrunner who's actually got to perform live at a mainline GDQ. So how was that experience?
Yeah, that was it was really fun. It was like I went to a hotel in Pittsburgh, and the event was just at the hotel. So it's like I basically just went down a few floors, and that's where the whole event was in their like big event space. So it was pretty fun. I mean, I actually spent time in because like at the hotel, like you just turn on the TV to a certain channel and you can just see everything going on the main floor.
Yeah,
I did that like more than I actually went down to the main floor at times. So I was like, you know what? It's like 4 a.m. I'll just kind of watch.
I had similar stuff when I did the ESA sometimes, it's kind of like, well, I could go downstairs or I could just whack Twitch on and just watch it from up here.
Yeah. And like, I mean, the nice part was like, it was literally like on the actual TV. You didn't have to go to like Twitch or anything. You just, it was hooked up to a channel.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, there were a lot of people there. There was one person who recognized me, but I can't remember who that was.
Right. Oh. So you didn't recognize them? Like,
who was that? Was it Undergrow? Maybe I'm trying to remember I could almost remember their username, but I'm not sure.
Undergrow. I remember Undergrow.
Possibly. Or maybe I'm just making that up. But yeah, there was one person.
They were a Worms WMD player.
Yeah, possibly that. And aside from that, I didn't really find that that many people that I like knew or that knew me. So it was a bit more solo than I wanted. Like I would have loved to go there with like friends or something, but
yeah,
that chance of me like dragging anyone else along to Pittsburgh, because I'm in Oregon, it's pretty far away, like the opposite side of the country, basically. So yeah, it was really fun. Super cold. I was snowed in. I had to stay there an extra like 2 days.
Oh shoot.
And yeah, the actual experience was like, I don't know. It was at like, when did I start? I had to start at either 3 or 4 a.m.
It was pretty early, wasn't it? Because like I was on comms on that one remotely, and it was quite easy for me because the time zones worked really well for me. But I remember, yeah, you kind of like I did with my first ESA, got the graveyard shift.
Oh yeah, it was that part was a bit brutal, but it's something that you can like actually kind of prepare yourself for. You're like, you know what? It's a one-time thing. I'll just be energized.
Yeah.
Even though, like, I just stayed up for that. I didn't sleep.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to sleep.
I was on at like 5:30 in the morning, so I just forced myself to go to sleep early. And it was the same when I did Hotfix. GDQ Hotfix.
Yeah.
I just, because that was on, what was that like? That was 3 a.m., wasn't it? If I recall correctly, in my time. So I just went to bed at like 8 and was just kind of like, fuck it, I'm getting sleep.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's like somebody has to do it. Roughly half of the people like playing are gonna have to take some like pretty bad hours to make it 24/7. So yeah, totally understand that part. But considering how late it was, I thought the run was pretty good, and I also like played it pretty well. Like,
yeah,
I think I got like a 41-minute time, and my record's like 39 minutes, so that's pretty good. But I did actually look back at it, and I was like, wait a minute. At the end, I didn't even ask about the time. I just kind of went to the like I didn't even like mention the time at all. I was just like, well, that's it. We're done.
If we just try to get to bed at that point, or like
probably. But yeah, I do remember it was like I went on stage. I didn't know when we were starting. Like they were just like, okay, we're starting. I was like, do I go? And,
yeah,
I was like, I could really use like a 3-2-1 or something. But surprisingly though, like I was so worried about technical issues or like this computer's not going to have the same resolution and everything's going to look weird. But because like I've only played Worms.
That's a question for
on
you.
One monitor.
Did you take your keyboard with you, or did you use one of theirs?
Yeah, I did take my keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, my if anyone's curious,
yeah,
let's see.
Show us here.
Yeah, there it is. The
Dell Quiet Key.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find the what's the. I'm sorry, I don't know the actual brand here. It's a Dell Quiet Key. It's a shitty PS2, purple plug connection from the early 2000s.
I could tell you, but then I would have to make you disappear, so I'm just going to have to leave it. Because I need to read the other, because you sent me your... Actually, if you check your Discord history with the conversation with me and you sent me it there once.
I know it's somewhere. But the thing is, I wouldn't recommend anyone get it. It's just I'm just really, really used to it. And I regret to say that I'm now in possession of a Wooting ADHE amazing keyboard that I've been waiting to do a stream where I just like try it out. So I haven't opened it for like a month.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to see what you think of that, because that keyboard is just stupidly good.
It looks really cool.
The one thing I will warn you, it'll take you a while to figure out the ideal settings for you.
That's
sensitivity, actuation point, and the rapid trigger.
One thing I should say about this old keyboard I use, I learned early on to put a paper ball under the spacebar. Just like initially when I first did it, what I did was I took from the advice of some other wormers, like a crumpled up straw, like a straw wrapper, and just like put it under the spacebar. That was the preferred way of doing it for some reason. And the last time I put one in there, it was just I took a hole puncher on some like sticky Post-its and just like stacked them up. And that makes the travel time a little bit shorter. Which honestly it takes.
Yeah, this is for roping, by the way.
This is for roping. You don't like.
There's almost no other application. The travel time on the plane to Pittsburgh for a second. I was like, what's a little tiny ball going to do to speed up the plane? Like...
Exactly. Yeah. Just got to put those paper balls in the engine. Show up to the engine room with those paper balls. They know what to do.
Spitting paper balls through the straw at the pirate.
Gives you that little extra momentum. So yeah, you took your own keyboard, which is this is the thing. I remember being interviewed for ESA for one of their like in between interview things, which I don't think they ever ended up using. But they asked me what advice I would give to anyone doing their first marathon and whatnot, and I said, bring your own hardware.
Oh yeah,
bring your own keyboard, controller, whatever, because don't rely on being able to use the
Yeah.
ones at the other end, because you've no idea what the hell you're going to be grappling with at that point.
Yeah.
Now, if there's any advice you could give anyone doing their first marathon in person, what would you advise?
I would say the same thing. Definitely bring like your own keyboard and mouse. Like they'll have their own like monitors, so I mean you got to be able to get used to that. I guess like ahead of time, just make extra sure that you're going to be playing on the correct like resolution, and that settings like say the frame rate of the monitor isn't going to affect anything, because I know that's a thing. Like that's a thing for like Resident Evil games apparently.
Right, okay.
Somebody told me that like in Resident Evil, I think like the remake 2 or something, like you have a knife, and if you just set like the monitor hertz higher, it'll do more damage. Which is insane. How is that even possible? I don't know.
Wow.
That is weird.
But I mean, honestly, like I think just the pressure of the event will make you play better. Like
I promise you that is not universal advice.
yeah, I'll just say practice. Just practice enough that you don't have to like look at notes or anything.
Have either
Unless it's an
of
RPG.
have either of you come close to beating records during live events?
I don't know about how close I've been to it personally. If anyone's going to do that, it would be Mablak.
I mean, it's like I think for anyone to do that in any game, it has to be a case where you have just come up with a new strat or something. Because I mean, it's just nearly impossible. Like, because like when you're at home, you're doing run after run, you're just way more likely to get a record. But yeah, I don't think either of us have gotten like a world record or anything.
I mean, I just looked up your Indie-thon run, Mablak, and that was
that was a good one, I think.
101.58. Yeah, so that's
pretty good.
That's pretty darn good for a marathon run for sure. Because your PB was that 59, wasn't it, or something like that?
It's in the
59.12.
Yeah. So that's really quite close.
I was actually like, that run didn't get a lot of views, but
no, it's Indie-thon. Like, it's a small marathon, so
it's small. That's like one of my best. I mean, I probably won't do a better live performance than that, because like I got the sheep NATO on that one. I remember that.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is like incredible. I mean that's like a first for me doing it that effectively in like a real run. But yeah, I mean, people should check out Indie-thon. It's cool, and that's a good place to start. Like for people who are just starting, like go to there's Oengus, OENGUS .io or something. That's like a place that accumulates or congregates all the speed runs that are happening around the world. You can almost definitely find one that you can like submit to. So I mean, there's so many.
Indie-thon's been on hiatus actually for about a year now. I could be wrong, but like yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no. But the thing is, it was a good marathon. In terms of like, it was one that was specifically geared up to showcase indie games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another rec I'd give to people. You can route a game from scratch. Like, and if you happen to be the only person running a game, that can be a good thing for like getting into marathons and stuff. But I mean, you have to actually be running it consistently, and that'll you'll have a better chance of like getting in.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you thought about applying for GDQ again?
I have. Well, I think my next so I'm really on the cusp of running Worms WMD. I've been playing that a lot the past year. Like it's pretty well routed at this point. Just the missions. I've been starting to run through all of them. There's like so many carpet bombs. It's like every other mission is just like find a perfect spot for a carpet bomb. It'll kill all the worms. But there's some cool stuff in it too at this point. So once I do that for a while, I'll probably submit that. GDQ. We'll see if that goes anywhere. But
You thought about submitting the ones that you've already tried and tested, like Worms 2 or Worms Armageddon? Because these things tend to work in cycles, I think, and they haven't. GDQ still hasn't had a Worms 2 run yet.
We just had like the there was the GDQ hotfix one, which is like this or never before seen. Yeah, we did do that, but yeah, I mean Worms 2. I do want to do more Worms 2.
Well,
that would be great.
Toby's currently nipping at our heels. Apparently, on
he's improving.
He told me that he had like a world record pace run going the other day, and then his internet failed. So,
damn, dude.
I think he wasn't recording locally. So,
if he beats my time of 132, I mean, I'll definitely come. I'll be coming after him,
Yeah, no, I've got to get back into it as well. It's one thing Mablak beating my records with Toby.
No, Toby's good. But
I like Toby. But he does like Ocean Color Scene, and I can't abide that.
No.
So yeah.
But I should. Maybe we should talk about Worms 2. So Worms 2 is brutally hard. I mean, like it's coming back to Worms 2 is like I didn't even remember it being this hard, but it is the Dark Souls of Worms. It is. Like the missions are nerve-wracking because everything's on a timer. So like we me and Ruffle Bricks and Toby, we spent months routing it. Maybe a full year. I don't know.
A few other things. I mean, I remember KRD stuck his head in a couple of those sessions. Charles was there. I think the Bubster popped in once or twice and accused us all of being on crack.
Oh God!
Because this was because we were talking about like, is there a bubble in the water we can use for timing? And Bubster referred to our bubble strats as crack strats.
Crack strats, yeah. These were true crack strats.
I couldn't really argue with at the time. But...
Yeah, but we settled on the same thing, which is using debris in the background.
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously, we're not going to use clouds or bubbles. What the fuck? What were we thinking?
Exactly.
It's all about debris.
Why would anyone use a cloud?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Silly.
But yeah, no, it's because it was a really intense kind of like period of routing from what I remember.
Yeah,
it was fun, but it was like it felt very intensive because it was just such a mammoth game, and there was much of it to cut down.
Plus, we were also brute forcing, trying to find the perfect RNG that will make the computer kill itself. Which we didn't have any special tools for. We just had to try, do this turn, end it at 32 seconds, see what happens.
Yeah.
And hope that the computer does something dumb.
So I got a couple of questions to ask you about this because like your routing prowess is genuinely astonishing. In that I don't know anyone who has anywhere near the amount of patience that you do.
That's probably part of it.
It's all this kind of stuff. Where do you get that patience from, Mablak? Tell us all. How can we get some of this?
Well, there's this drug called Ritalin. No, I actually haven't tried Ritalin yet. Once I do, it'll. But I think I think part of it is like I just know Worms really well, so like I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of all the things that can happen, or just all the ways we can make things go faster. So this my routing prowess is probably limited to Worms, but it's basically like zoning out and just trying a bunch of shit for long periods of time is a good way to approach things. And if you spend more time with any game, you will get like some unexpected results. Like, there's definitely been times where like I've just been like mindlessly trying things and like something cool happens. But it's definitely not like an all at once thing. Like even if you know the game, just like trying stuff not 100% random stuff, but like trying
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, like, hey, if I blow this worm over here, does it quite reach this other worm, or does it not? I mean, it's kind of like you have an infinite amount of time to try things, so just try it. Like, see if in
But
the
in
case
terms
of
of
worms,
like, because I remember you were
Yeah.
talking about once said that you tried like over 100 girder positions on a Worms World Party mission to
that's the
find
thing.
that.
Yeah.
And are you like when you're doing that kind of thing? Are you sort of making notes? Have you got like screenshots and stuff like that to remind
Thing
yourself of
is,
what
well,
you've done, or do you just internalize all that?
that's actually a good question.
Mm.
I think if I was a little more diligent, I would like jot down things,
Mm.
but I typically when I try like hundreds of positions of like girders on that one donkey mission on Worms Roll Party.
Yeah.
Well, it's partly because like I strongly believe that there's a solution, or like I strongly believe I can kill this worm in one turn, and I'm just right on the edge of it, which sometimes is not the right way to approach it. But typically, I don't write things down, and I try to hold as much as I can in my head because I think it goes faster. But
it's kind of like you just keep trying until you get the result you're looking for. And then when you get the result you're looking for, it's like you've got it, so you don't need to remember everything else.
Yeah.
Right. Well, sometimes this can burn you pretty bad if you try 100 different ways to kill this worm, and you didn't write them down. And then you're like, ah, fuck. I I really wish I had written that stuff down. So that has happened to me before for sure. And that's
You weren't recording locally or with those kind of things because obviously with Armageddon you've got the replays, but with two and World Party you don't have that luxury. So
yeah. Typically in those cases I don't even go back to look. I'm just like, okay, I must have done this. I must have done like this series of jumps because this is the easiest series of jumps. So I must have tried this already. I usually keep an intuitive sense of the things that I have and haven't tried when I have to try like hundreds of different possibilities. But doing it systematically sometimes is a much better way to approach it, which I often don't do. I just do it semi-systematically. But I mean, sometimes it has totally worked out. Like where I'm just like, okay, like in Worms WMD, just like in Reloaded, sometimes you have to do some jumps to get in position before you lay a grenade or something. And it's like there's a limited number of ways you can do like a simple series of jumps to get in position. So it's like sometimes you can just try like, okay, you got to get in position, like here's your worm, here's where you have to get to. Well, there's only so many ways you can get there, like maybe 3 forward jumps. So you try the easiest ways first, and if one of those easiest ways works, then you have your solution, right? It's like, okay, I did this in 3 jumps. I can't do it in less than 3 jumps. So that's it. That's the best I can do.
It's all about the jumps, is what you're saying.
Just
measure everything by jumps, and you're sorted.
Yep. That's been the kind of a weird thing about Worms Reloaded and Worms WMD. It becomes all about like jumps. I mean, we do that a little in Armageddon, but you can't do nudges anymore. You can't nudge your worm into place. You have to just like jump to places.
That's and is I mean, in terms of like the transferable skills when it comes to the Worm series, because I sort of ranted a bit about that last time, but when it came to taking what you'd learnt from the second generation games and applying that to your runs of Reloaded and WMD and whatnot, like how transferable were those skills?
Yeah, it's been a little. It's like, okay, a lot of it is semi-transferable. Like you want to do full power shots if you can, because those are repeatable. But as the Worms titles advance through time, it becomes more impossible to do like to get to exact angles.
Yeah.
That part is really unfortunate. So like in Worms WMD right now, there's like 2 or 3 missions where it's crucial to get to an exact angle, but the only way to do it is use Windows magnifier. So like
Right.
for the moment we're saying like we can use this. And what happens is you look at the screen and it just looks, you have to zoom in to the max. There's probably like over 1,000 angles you can aim at. It's still discrete, but there's just so many. And so like you look at the screen and it looks like a bunch of, when you're zoomed in that far, it's just a bunch of like triangles and weird shapes. And you have to find the right the right series of triangles, and then you can actually find the exact angle, but it takes like 5 to 10 seconds to do that. It's brutal compared to the original trilogy.
So it's kind of like the zoom function on Worms 2 Plus, but on steroids.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting thing though. It's almost fortuitous, but Windows Magnifier, like it used to do the thing where it just magnifies the pixels, like they just get bigger, like in Worms 2.
Yeah.
And I was trying that for a while, and I was like, wait, this doesn't even work. I can't tell the difference between the angles. But Windows Magnifier changed its algorithm sometime in the past like year. And now I can use it. So it kind of like, depending on exactly where the screen is, like it kind of combines the pixels in a weird way.
Yeah.
So that they're not just bigger, but they merge together and form like triangles and pentagons and weird shapes. Whatever algorithm that is. And that actually allows me to know the exact angle. So
right.
I mean, it's a weird stroke of luck.
That is fascinating. Yeah. It's like it's kind of a new form of tool assisted speed run.
I mean, yeah, I think we can only allow it if it's Windows Magnifier. I don't want to allow third party programs, but
no, exactly.
This is like ease of access,
Yeah.
Maybe I'm handy, maybe I can't see, maybe I need a little assistance.
No, because we've had I think we've had questions about like the use of WormKit modules in Armageddon.
Yeah, there was
as well. And it's been kind of difficult to figure out what should and shouldn't be allowed with that because there's so many of them.
There's a lot now.
Yeah.
I think we basically said use ones that don't give you an advantage.
Yeah, that was the and just hope that people kind of self-police on that basis. Well, that's my interpretation of it. But I remember King Hingle saying at one point that for him a good speed run, or how a speed run should be done, is that you could literally just go around a friend's house and do it. Like, you go up to them without like installing like, oh, you need to have this installed. You can just have a copy of the base game and you can just do it with that.
Yeah. I mean, I would basically agree with that. Yeah, I guess like
So how unbearable is Worms WMD if you don't use Windows Magnifier then? Is it just really untenable, or?
Well, there's only like at this point there's 2 or 3 missions where I'm using this exact angle thing. I mean, that if I couldn't use that, it would probably add an extra like minute or two, not like a crazy amount of time, but it would be really, really annoying. It's still hard even with that though. It's like, because you have to spend all this time getting to this exact angle, and then it might not even work if you miss aim. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I don't even know how long that run is at this point. I think it's around an hour probably.
Yeah. Well, it is an interesting one. I think I probably know where your answer's going to go with this, but what do you prefer, rooting or running?
That's a good question. I think a lot of times rooting is more fun actually. But
yeah, because it's sort of like you come up with all the strats and it's like, oh, now I've got to do them all together. Like,
right.
Yeah.
It's the rooting has really provided like a lot of just like joyous moments. Like you find that some crazy strat and you're like, oh my god. Yeah, it's I mean like running also provides some like some really like yes moments, but
yeah.
I mean rooting is like, to some extent it's like you're climbing this mountain for the first time and you can be like, oh wow, no one's done this before, and that's It feels like kind of special. But yeah, they're both like really really fun. I mean, like, yeah, I guess rooting is fun when you like. It's fun when you like know the game well enough, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're like really grasping at straws and you're like, I don't know shit about this game, it's probably not as like enjoyable.
I asked because, like, I mean, I think I'm probably the opposite in that sense. Like, in the I think I enjoy the running a little more than the rooting. Mainly because I just don't think I'm as good at rooting as other people. Like, I've found stuff obviously over.
Yeah, you found some really good stuff.
But I genuinely have a very impatient attitude towards it.
Yeah.
Like when it came to the amending the hot stuff, holy hand grenade. It came about because I was too impatient to learn the original one. So I was just kind of like, fuck this. There's got to be a better holy hand grenade. So I just tried it for like 10, 15 minutes. And it was like, there you are, found it. And that was it. If had it been any longer than that, I would have just given up. Like, genuinely.
Man.
But like, I just completely lucked out on that occasion, probably. You know.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was a great find. And then like Dead Code helped us. Dead Code's little insight. Like, we've gotten all these little insights and they really like help us out tremendously. So like Dead Code taught us that we can do sub-pixel resets by like bumping our worms' heads in the right places.
Yeah.
And then our worms are like, well, their sub-pixel positions are like more aligned. And then we can repeat shots. Sometimes really important shots that we need. But the cool thing is this has been applicable to every Worms game. This whole sub-pixel reset thing. And Dead Code had a tool like that could let him see the exact sub-pixels to know. So like, you jump here, then you get a sub-pixel reset. So like, but what I learned is you can just do this. You can just do this like I did it in Worms Reloaded a lot. Yeah. Try jumping into various like parts of the land. And then see if you can then like lay a grenade, see if the grenade is the same every time or not. And then you've like done a sub-pixel reset.
Do you think this is something that Team 17 designed deliberately, or because it's one of those things? I don't know if there are any other games that have that kind of mechanic where, in order to ensure that you are on a specific grid position or whatever, you can just bounce off a wall or something like that. Like,
I want to say maybe I've heard of something similar, maybe in like Ocarina of Time or something.
Right.
Like with wall collisions, maybe. But I feel like there must be some similar mechanics in other games, but I just don't know. Just like, because like if you if you bump into a wall in a weird way, and the game is like having trouble dealing with the collision, I think it's at that moment where it can like kind of reset you. And it probably has a way to reset you that like puts you in the same place every time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Kamito, you were trying to ask a question about 20 minutes ago, and I didn't let you get in. Do you want to?
Podcast 20 minutes ago. Can't remember that now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Have I got any other questions for speedrunning? Oh yeah. So before we go into the other competitive stuff, so how did you manage to memorize Worms 2, Worms Armageddon, Worms Reloaded, and Worms World Party for speedrunning? How do you manage to memorize all of that?
What I found, I think, is that you can't quite memorize all of them at once perfectly. Like you can get close. It's a lot easier to have like one game in your mind at a time. But with I think Worms 2 is the one case where we kind of need notes.
Yeah,
there's a lot of numbers
like this.
Oh, nice!
Like to actually be able to do that.
Oh,
like passwords, numbers. But this is Mablak's chart. I think it's. Oh no, it's not back to front. It's back to front on my Discord. But yeah, this is a whole chart that Mablak created for one specific level in Worms 2, and genuinely there's just so many variables on that shot that you actually just kind of you need that.
It's
Like
like
when I
if I yeah like,
when I did Worms 2 for ESA, I remember saying to Toby, who was commenting remotely, like, I'm going to need you to really be on that
nice.
sheet there. Unfortunately, I got the
Did you not
exact right.
Did you not do a Mr. Bean and write it all on your legs and your arms and?
Oh my god, dude, that would
Listen,
be amazing.
I have been told I look like Mr. Bean in the past, but I've never been told I think like him. So, like,
Holy shit.
Um,
Yeah, just go into GDQ with a tattoo on your arm. Like, that's real dedication.
yeah, exactly. People will
But
ask
then
you,
the
like,
strat,
what's
then the
all
strat,
this? Oh, it's my mother's maiden name, like.
but then the strat changes. Like we improve it. Like, oh fuck.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Oh god. Yeah, Worms 2 is I think that poster you showed, that's probably like the most backupy backupy like thing we have in that game. But yeah, that one's like an RPG with its level of knowledge. As far as memorizing stuff though, I think it does help with Worms that a lot of it's very visual.
Yeah.
So like a weird thing is like we have these terrain markers where you have to get your angle pressed up against the land in a certain such way, and it's purely visual. Like you can't. There's no way to be like, oh, I go this number of notches, or it's purely visual, but that actually makes it easier.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff that we remember,
like if you're trying to explain to a stranger how to get from A to B in their car, you're talking about landmarks. Look out for that landmark. Yeah. Something like that, similar to that.
Yeah. Some of the precise shots we do are actually like relatively easy to get down. You just have to do it a handful of times, and you're like, oh, it's where the pointy bit is touching the gray part of the land.
Excellent technical terms there. The pointy bit.
Yep.
Terrain marker, I guess, is the usual term we used for it, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah. But it's very abstract. Like your brain just sees it and knows it. If you were to verbalize it, it would be hard to describe.
Yes.
But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, luckily a lot of the aspects of the run are like that. But yeah, I mean, if you just do it a handful of times, it starts to become like you really get the routine ingrained just in your hands. Like it's like you're like, okay, I have to do this thing. I do this series of steps. There's so far, at least for like pretty much all the Worms runs, there's not that much improv. It's mostly just like you just kind of remember the series of steps and that's it. A few areas where you gotta like, improv some things, like on who let the floodgates open.
But even then, it's kind of like structured improv, like there's a number of different ways that mission can go, and you just adjust according to what comes out. So, but the first half of it is on rails, more or less, as far as the how to do it goes. So,
yeah, it's like, and I like that aspect. It's like a lot of the aspects of the mission runs are sort of on rails, but you can do them faster or slower. Especially if there's like roping involved. Like in there's a little bit more in Worms 2. There's going to be a shitload in Worms WMD. Like Worms WMD has like a bunch of missions where you just have infinite rope.
Oh wow.
And I like that because I I'm pretty good at roping. Other people might not like that.
As someone who has done the Worms World Party run many times at this point, I can definitely say I much prefer it when you get ropes.
Yeah. I mean, the roping aspect is fun in a sense because it does mean like, okay, I could always rope a little faster. There's that. That's like, a way that I can improve my time. In Worms WMD, there's it's kind of crazy because roping is much more free in that game. You can knock worms at like any speed and still survive.
Oh
wow!
Never knew that.
So there's some cool shit you can do. Like there's
you say survive, you mean like retain the turn?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. Hmm.
There's also no one actual improvement. There's no risk of like once you knock a worm, of that worm then knocking you in midair. So
Okay.
that's tremendously better than.
That's one of those things that just makes you feel really depressed when that happens.
That is like you have to spend time to avoid that. Like
Yeah.
you can practice avoiding that. Like that's a big part of intermediate. Like when you knock worms, you have to trail behind them so you don't get hit yourself.
Oh yeah.
It's
We've
very
seen-
difficult. There's yeah.
We've seen that happen quite a number of times in CWT, where players unfortunately get knocked by their knock.
It's game ruining.
But it's strange because you talk about like the precision of something like Worms Armageddon, in terms of like, you know, all the different, you know, being able to nudge and that not being a thing that you can do in the later games, and not being able to necessarily notch in quite the same way. Am I right in thinking that Reloaded isn't as precise on that front?
Yeah, Reloaded is like, I guess I would say Reloaded. The notching aspect is not that bad. I mean, you can get two exact angles,
right?
Like without too much difficulty. Like the discrete angles, it's a bit similar to Armageddon. Like there's a pretty visible number of like discrete angles that you can aim at, but the you can't nudge. You can't like nudge your worm a little forward.
Is that the one that's got the ridiculous bounces with the grenade?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's like that's the one thing I remember. Like when was it? I can't remember if it was Reloaded or Revolution, but they're pretty similar anyway. Or Clan Wars. But I thought I'm a really good BNG player on Worms Armageddon. That'll translate easily to oh hell, I couldn't have been any more wrong. It was like I'm trying to bounce because it's like in Worms Armageddon, you like say you've got a target in the middle where my mouth is on the screen. So you're on this side. You bounce a grenade so it bounces back like that. You can't do that in them because it's like it's crazy. It rolls about and but the CPU managed to hit you from anywhere to anywhere with the craziest angles.
So unfair. I mean, it's unfair in every Worms game that the CPU has this kind of power, but in that game particularly, it's like the CPU is doing these advanced level physics calculations.
Yeah.
That it's just like they can't distinguish between a hard shot for humans and an easy shot.
Yeah.
So it's like anything they toss is going to do these crazy bounces and like a Rube Goldberg machine of bounces and just hit you in the end.
When I looked at that, I thought to myself, nah, that's not like the bounces seem so random. Yet the computer's able. It's almost as if it's like the computer's not guessing where to aim. The computer's literally using some sort of aimbot to hit. And it's like, but because I tried practicing it for a while to try and see if there was any pattern to it, and trying the same shot just ever so slightly different would send it in a completely different path. I just couldn't make sense of it, to be honest.
It's like it's one of those things like it would be like, doing one of those like Plinko games and like knowing where the ball's gonna land at the end.
That is exactly what it was like.
It's like even a computer, it feels like, shouldn't quite be able to do this.
Yeah.
But they've seen the future. They can do it.
You see, it's just the more I've seen kind of like bits of these like third, fourth generation Worms games and whatnot, the more I look at like the precision that you get with something like Worms Armageddon in comparison. Like I kind of find myself wondering, was WMD the game plan all along? You know, what was that precision in Worms Armageddon actually not what they intended at all? Team 17, you know.
I don't know. I mean, that's a really good question. Like, I feel like I mean, I can only speak about my own perspective. What I would want, I would just want the CPU to like have a brain and like have some strategy, not because like what I think is ultimately they have the CPU get this insane level of shot accuracy because it does not have any strategic knowledge. It can't plan ahead. It can't do anything.
Yeah, it can't rope, it can't parachute, it can't select worm, so...
Yeah.
I feel like Revolution and Reloaded and Clan Wars is like what you would get if you were to ask Ringo Starr from the Beatles to write a song instead of Paul McCartney. It's like you just get the wackiest, goofiest, incoherent. It's I like.
You mean like when Ringo just did a disco album, like that kind of thing?
Okay.
But yeah, I will give it one thing. What's the one that had what's his name? Oh, I forgot his name. Him with the voice. Matt Berry, that's it. He's got a great voice. He's got such a good voice. Was that was Revolution, wasn't it? Was it? Or yes. Reloaded? Yeah, Revolution. Yeah. I did like the campaign though. It was fun.
That guy is like the perfect voice for Worms. Like he should come back. Like that's a selling point on that game, which is otherwise not pleasant to look at or play. But
yes,
I will get back to that game. So like I started routing that game. I got maybe a quarter of the way through, and then I moved on to a different Worms.
Don't blame you.
But I will come back to that. That's just more on. It's more down the line, like not very high up on my list,
Wasn't it because like there was someone in the Discord who was trying to root it, and like you you just kind of like thought like you might want some help with this.
Actually, I think that was actually the start of it. Yeah, somebody was trying to root it, and I wanted to give them a nudge in the right direction, and that actually just caused them to leave.
You see, that's the thing. Like, because I remember Charles got roped. If you forgive the pun, roped you in for some help with the what was it, the Reloaded, not the missions run, but there was another.
It was the challenges. Yeah.
Challenges run. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then he changed his name to My Angel Mablak for about 3 months afterwards because of how much he helped him out. So some people have taken your getting involved, very well and in the spirit intended, and others, like in the case of that WMD guy, got very upset about it.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, well, yeah, that was for WMD.
Do you want to explain this, Mablak, or
sure.
What was the problem with it?
Oh no, well, there was just well, it's kind of a funny story, and no shade on this guy at all. We've had a number of games together. He's cool, but so like there's a rope challenge record on Worms WMD. It's just like it's one of the basic like training challenges like for rope, and so I saw that, and I forget if I think this guy came into WMD and like posted. What did he post a record or I forget?
He was posting stuff. It was and he was pretty amicable to begin with.
Yeah, and I tried the challenge a few times, and trying it for like a day or something, I got the record because I mean, like I don't know, I'm good at rope. But this caused the guy who came to our Discord to really doubt me, which I totally understand actually. Like it's because he not only saw that I got the time, but also that I had my first attempt at this challenge was that day, which was true. But
so are you trying to say that he didn't realize how much experience you've got and he thought you were a cheater?
I mean, yeah.
It's Mablak like derangement syndrome, basically, as we call it in the business, like
MDS.
Yeah. But the thing was, you hadn't just posted like the record video from what I recall. Like there was a whole batch of attempts that you showed.
Well,
So
yeah, I
what's
wanted to
clear
make
that you were
sure.
just- yeah.
Yeah, I want to make sure that like I just posted like actual clips of my hands like roping for like an hour or so.
Hmm.
And I felt like that had settled the matter because I like really showed myself playing, but he was like, "Oh, so you must have used slow motion to slow things down."
Do you know how much money you could make if you roped with your feet and you had a feet cam?
Oh god. Yeah, it's really my feet that
Well,
are doing all
here's
the
my
work.
pound.
Yeah. But yeah, well,
no, when Mablak says this guy was kind of like accusing him and that, he's skimming over the fact that I come into the Discord after this had all happened, and the WMD channel is full of about like 200 messages from this one guy who is just absolutely going off about like what a fraud Mablak must be. Yeah, it was. and then he left for a bit and calmed down and came back in, and I think they've got on well ever since. But
yeah, no, he was yeah.
Mm.
I was like, you know what, I'm mad at cheaters too.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Well, I mentioned this because I feel I can admit something to you now at this point, which is that when I was the missions world record holder on Worms Armageddon a long time ago, a very long time ago, and this was before Mablak had started running. So like I was, you know, it was basically like Peachy had done it like a few years before then. And then it was just me. So I got in my run, and then Mablak saw that, hey, speedrunning has started again. So Mablak
gotta get into this.
Yeah, so Mablak recorded the run. Now, Mablak at the time I think was not able to record locally.
This was This was like on my camera phone or something.
Yes, he set up a camera behind him that was pointing at the monitor, and you could see him occasionally like sort of lean.
It's old school.
Yeah, it was genuinely like that.
Regrettable.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
I think the early days of Super Mario Bros. Speedrunning and Mario Kart speedrunning.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Like, so I remember seeing that, and the thing about it is, it obviously proves that you can do the run. You know, it proves better in many ways than a lot of locally recorded runs that you can do the run, because
it was really
that was watching you. Yeah.
It was a combination of like, I want to really show that this is actually me, and also I just didn't have a laptop that would work.
Mm. But I will admit, for the first time publicly here, that at the time when you submitted that video and I watched it, I did message Peachy, who was the other mod, and I said, do we have to accept this?
Yeah. It's
not
that is
so much,
totally understandable.
Not because you were like running rings around me, you know, but just because like I don't want to watch this
it's
this
like
camera like resolution.
Yeah.
You know?
Honestly, I mean, since I'm now like a moderator for like, you know, I think Reloaded, Armageddon, I do kind of see the moderator's job, and like that can be pretty freaking annoying. Like, especially when people haven't timed things properly, or like, I don't think so far I haven't gotten anything as bad as what I had to submit. Like, I haven't gotten someone who's like with a camera like this far away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to our credit, Peachy just said, like, look, it's a valid run. Just accept it.
I mean,
presentation
just pretend
wise or whatever, like, you know, just it's fine.
Just pretend it's like 10 years earlier than it was, you know?
Yeah. But exactly. I don't think I ever told anyone that publicly before. So, because
actually,
I was worried.
I remember you saying that before.
Oh, did I? Oh, I don't know. But I think I was worried people would think I was conspiring to not let you get a run or whatnot. But
nah, I mean, even if that was the case, I would probably just be like, it's fine. I'll just get a better laptop. It took me a while. It took me like a year or so.
I mean, I did reject
But
one of your runs, which was your first deathmatch run, but that's just because you didn't do the.
I
elite
didn't do it
battle.
right. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
even.
yeah.
I didn't do the last battle.
Yeah, so I did that, and there was a part of me that was kind of like, "Yes, I'm still in the game." And then you immediately submit one with an elite battle that wipes the floor with me. It's like, all right, fair enough.
That was an interesting time, though. It's like because we started off with times around the 2-hour mark. We didn't quite know how far deathmatch would go, but it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's we're both part of the 145 club now. And
I don't know. Does it count if it's like 1:45 and then 46 seconds
Yeah.
on top? Or okay,
Totally.
I don't know how the
Yeah.
club works, but it's strange. You know, there is one of the things that I find a little. I don't want to say odd because I understand why it's a thing. I don't want to say disappointing either because I don't want to say I've got massive expectations or anything, but you got you with your is it 143, isn't it? Yours at the moment, and mine's in the 145s, and then there's this massive gap, and then it's King Hingle at 2, and it's sort of a shame to me that there hasn't been a third member of the sub 2-hour club yet.
Yeah.
There's a question for you. So I'm just looking at the times now. So this is for deathmatch any percent for Worms Armageddon on speedrun.com. Mablak's in first with 1 hour 43 minutes and 31 seconds. That was 2 years ago. Ruffled Bricks in at 1 hour 45 minutes 46 and a half seconds, if that's 500 ms. That was 5 days ago. Then
That's
King
right.
Hingle in third, 2 hours and 43 seconds 3 years ago. Then you've got Senator, Psychotropic, Corey Dex, Gomels, Chicken 2-3. Who do you think, out of those other players in the top 10, if they kept playing, who do you think would make it in the sub 2 hour?
I mean, that, yeah, I guess King
that
Hingle
would
is like.
But King Hingle was like, at the time, he was very determined. Like when I got my 2 hour 10. Because his initial PB that I beat was 2:11, so I got 2 hour 10, and then he did a Mablak basically. He just like just went ham on the deathmatch runs for a few days, and then he got
was
a 2 hour.
doing, he was doing like pretty well. I feel like he could keep improving. He was a bit of a teleporter though. That's
Well, yeah, okay. So let's now that you brought it up, let's discuss the teleporting thing, Mablak. Like why do you have such a stigma when it comes to teleports? Like, what's the?
It's because it's just because in a normal competitive match, you can't waste a turn, right? You have this whole turn. Even if you have to rope to the other side of the map. If you can do it, you have to do it. It just goes against my worming instincts, to minimize the number of turns. Like if you can do something in a turn, you just have to do it. Yeah. That's literally all it is.
So that does actually lead into a question I did want to ask, which was about the transferable skills between competitive Worms Armageddon, PvP and speedrunning. Like how, because you coming at it from a different perspective to me. I was very much a pure speedrunner. You were in the competitive side of it for a long time, and still are, obviously. But like, what skills do you think you can take from one and put into the other, and vice versa?
I mean, if it's like, if it's deathmatch, there's definitely a lot with deathmatch, but I think a lot of it is just getting used to the distances, because like there's times in deathmatch where you have to just do a low gravity like bow on a worm, and it has to be accurate, and that's something you can improve either competitively or in deathmatch. But if you've played competitive worms for many years, a lot of those distances are really like ingrained. So I think that's something that's really transferable. Just knowing like how far a fire punch is going to send a worm, or like how far a grenade's going to send a worm. Damages, knowing like just basically like how much damage you're doing with each weapon. Pretty transferable. Yeah, I guess I would say mostly distances, but also like if you play intermediate a lot, combo kills. Like you open up a map, if you play intermediate a lot, there's 8 worms. You got to be able to just quickly spot what are the easiest kills, what are the easiest combo kills. Because if you don't see those like right away, you're gonna die. I guess what doesn't I guess like there's a whole defensive side to worms that doesn't really transfer to like say deathmatch. You don't, because in deathmatch you don't have to worry about defense until the last 2 missions. But yeah, on that route, in terms of offense though, like people should play intermediate if you want to get good at deathmatch. I think a lot of skills transfer because you can kind of the more you play intermediate, the more you start to see like combos that you can do. I guess the difference is you can rope knock in intermediate. You can't do that in deathmatch, but you can still see like lots and lots of combos. And oh yeah, that it applies there. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, intermediate skills do apply to both quick game and deathmatch. What else? I mean, there's lots of little mechanics like knowing how much damage a cluster trick is gonna do. Knowing how to use mine hats on worms. If anyone's interested in that, Dario has an excellent tutorial. I forget the name of his YouTube channel. I think it's Daz Worms, DAZ.
I remember.
I might be wrong.
I'll link it in the chat. Just give me a moment.
Yeah, I remember struggling to find it when I used it in one of my. I used a clip of it in one of my videos to talk about mine hatting.
It's like So it's super useful. You can apply it to dynamite, mines, even sheep, so long as you time the sheep correctly right before it hits the worm. But you can aim worms like within a certain degree of precision. Plus. Just plus or minus like 10 degrees or so.
I think there might be a slight delay on Discord here. I think because I'm hearing you about 10 seconds after you've said the thing. I think. Bear with me. Shall I leave and come back?
I can hear him fine.
Oh no, it's fine. I think I might be just. Let's see. My computer might be stalling a little. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
Ask a question, Kamito, to cover for me while I figure out what we're doing.
Well, we've got pretty much all the speedrunning questions out the way. I don't have any more written here, so there's some questions I got from Chicken23 that he wanted to ask, but we'll ask. Oh, my ruffled bricks is just reconnecting. You have many achievements in Worms Armageddon, winning CWT, TUS playoffs for clanners, the Elite League, First Blood, and more. You've got multiple time trial rope race world records, multiple speedrunning world records, not only for Worms Armageddon, but for Worms Reloaded and Worms 2. Which would you say is the most meaningful achievement to you of all your competitive victories?
Of all the records, that's kind of tough. I mean, I think the CWT victories are kind of cool. Also, we used to do trophies, and I have like a couple trophies, which
nice.
Those made on it, and I think I want to say like Kays was the one German wormer who I think he made at least 1 or 2 of those trophies, he got them done and then sent them out. We should do that more because that was fun.
How much did they cost? So those trophies, do you know?
I mean, those are like $10 trophies. They're probably the cheapest, but just anything is cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I think those few where there were trophies were extra special, probably.
Yeah.
But I also I like the speedrunning achievements a lot, just because.
I'm sure.
Just because it's oh yeah.
I'm sure I have a picture of Mablak with a trophy there. If you just keep talking, and I'll find this picture.
Oh yeah. I think you'll find it's me wearing a Smashing Pumpkins t-shirt while holding the trophy.
So there's a picture of Mablak with the CWT trophy.
Nice.
Pre hat wearing Mablak.
I had more hair. Yeah. But yeah, those were fun. I mean, I really like the. Yeah, I'm all into speedrunning now. That's more like publicly visible. So I mean, I like the having the missions first place and stuff. But and also those those things are still like in contest. They're still contested, which is also like an exciting aspect, and that's one reason I like speedrunning. It's like an eternal challenge, and anyone can try to beat it.
Of the speedrunning achievements, is there any that you would count as your least favorite of the runs that you did?
Well, there is one quick game which is like it's kind of a joke, but I still want to beat that time.
Of course you do.
That guy got. It's so silly. It's just grinding over and over. But I mean, there's something kind of fun about that. Oh, there is one record that was kind of special for rope racing, and so this map was called Perm TR13, T rope race number 13. So like that guy I mentioned, Pure, Alias Master, I think it was partly him and partly some other people, but back in the day, this one map, Herm rope race TR13, it's for some reason it was the map you're supposed to get a good time on. Like if you have the time on that map, you're the king of ropers or something. I don't know. But like there was like a legend that Valrin, another amazing roper, had a time of like 40 seconds, which I think is impossible for someone to have gotten at that time. But this was a map that was like always in contest for a while. It's weird though because it wasn't actually played that much. Like we didn't play it that much, but for some reason in my mind, it's still like a special rope race map. So like I had the record for a while in like the mid 2000s. Then I think Ryan beat my time, and Ryan was and still is one of the best rope racers of all time. If anyone doesn't know who that is, he's amazing.
Yeah.
If I was to count the number of the number of victories we had against each other, I don't know if I came out on top or not, but we were kind of like number 1 and number 2 in whatever order you preferred of the rope racers, at least back then.
I was just looking at your YouTube channel, Mablak, and you do have a video of you doing not that rope race as far as I can tell. It's the Lex Insane Evil 5.
Oh my, that is a ridiculous map.
Yeah. I recommend everyone try that one. It's it'll teach you something about rope racing in tight spaces.
It'll teach you something about pain and suffering and sorrow.
and patience.
Yes. That map is I think we can still say to this day it's the hardest rope race map ever made. You could obviously make a harder one pretty easily. Just make all the parts. You could just double it or something. But at the time,
I'm not too sure. Like, say calling it the hardest, it's more like
hardest to complete once. I don't know.
The longest is probably be my preferred term. Like for like standard size map, it's really just like. It's like the tightest you can possibly get, almost. Like full up, down, and going along the water, making sure you're controlling it right. It's.
I mean, really I'm watching this. I'm watching this right now, and it is giving me an internal panic attack as I speak. Like just watching him trying to get around that corner.
The part, so like Lex made this map. The part where it says "Please die" and you have to rope on these low-hanging pixels. It's honestly like the most diabolical obstacle ever made. I mean, your rope can go straight through the pixels, and then you try to pull in, and you get caught on them, and you drown. Like, I don't know how he came up with it, but it's like, it's, I don't know. He like, it's a form of torture, basically.
It reminds me of some of those like Hollow Knight or Celeste mods, the ones that have just been like engineered to be as like Path of Pain, but so much worse. Like those
Yeah.
kind of things.
Ugh.
Um,
It's it's a nightmare.
Did you actually enjoy
But
doing this?
I
I enjoyed beating it, not so
Yeah.
much like having to do it.
tried it once. I didn't even get quarter of the way through before I got bored, and I was like, nope,
Oh my god.
nope.
What's interesting though is it if you play the map, it actually teaches you a couple things about like roping, like things you wouldn't otherwise know in any other kind of map. Like at the very first part, you have to climb a side part without falling off the. Like if you go just a little bit left, your worm will die and go off screen. Yeah, there's a whole way to do that. Just like bounce on the side, wait for the right time, and then extend. Um, oh yeah. Oh, but I didn't. I guess I didn't finish with that other map, TR13. So like, Masta, or Master.
Master, yeah.
He got the time. He got the top time in this one map with this incredible. So like at the end of the map, you can fling your worm, have it hit the ceiling. That stops the timer, and that's what we go by.
Yeah.
And so this is the worst map to speedrun because of that. To get the top time, you have to do this fling at the end over water, have your worm skim across the water once, and then land in the finish. And there's something blocking the finish, which you cannot aim at. You just can't. You just have to try it like a million times. Well, he got it. This was like circa in the 2010s. I don't know. I only rebeat that time like a few years ago, I think, which I was happy about. But I couldn't even do this fling in the way that he did it. Like he did it in a pretty optimal way. I had to do a little kick beforehand, and just like barely beat his time. But this old map, like I don't know. I was fairly proud of that achievement, just because like I was like, maybe I won't try this map again. But then I was like, yeah, I'll just try it. I don't want to try it again at this point though. It's like it has like the worst possible ending.
It sounds like it's quite lucky to get the right skim.
I tried it a bunch of times, just a skim where you like fling your worm, they hit the ceiling, they skim, they go in. It's like it's just nearly impossible. The only way I could do it was I practiced a kick over and over in the right spot at like full power. And that's a little more reliable, but it's not even the best way to do it. So I don't know. Worth trying though.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So yeah, something I didn't get to ask earlier. What was your first clan in Worms Armageddon? What was your experiences there? That's your first clan, Death Touch?
Yeah. So interestingly,
really?
I didn't get into clanners until about 3 or 4 years of playing the game. Everyone was in a clan basically who was good.
What about AP?
People, AP. Oh, that was like a really short-lived alias clan. But no, that was later. So yeah, Death Touch. A lot of people were trying to scout me like circa 2004 for their clans, and I was like a loner. I was like, I enjoy roping and all this shit, but and I was playing singles league and like CL2K and stuff and doing pretty well.
Did you not have aliased your own clan?
I could have tried the same route, yeah. But yeah, it was Endo. He was a really good wormer. Mentality. He was a really good Greek wormer. Dino Murr, and there was he was another British wormer, also really good. And I think Avarex at the time. So like they kind of recruited me into their clan. They said, "Oh, it's gonna be really fun." It was pretty fun. I just getting into clanners. Like we started to really dominate too. There were a lot of good players in Death Touch. There was a guy named Bunny who was exceptional at super sheeping. I remember like what was it? Well, it's like they were I had just joined the clan, and like I was meeting this guy Bunny, and they were like, "Hey, look at this guy Mablak, he can rope." And I was like, I did. There was some other evil map, kind of like that one, and I like roped under a really tiny part of it, and I left this guy somewhat speechless, which was I seem to remember that. But we had a lot of we were playing. I think our first league was First Blood. So the First Blood League was started in 2004. And this was made by Kiros and X101. And Flamey was also involved.
Kiros with the banhammer.
Right. Kiros was a notorious banner.
I got banned a few times for this.
Yes. But he kept a clean ship, you know? He kept the league nice and clean.
What were the bans for generally?
I think these are lost to history a little bit. Right.
Most of them are just for mouthing off, really.
Oh, okay.
For like, for being a bit of a loudmouth or opposing the moderator's decision, stuff like that.
There was, there were some like ego issues in this league, First Blood. It's hard to go back and know how much of it was warranted or not, but it was a fun league. I remember like DT was definitely a top clan at the time. Six was also up there, which had Flowing Water, who we were talking about earlier. Flowing Water and Mir. There were some deadly combos of like people. Like I would say, well, me and like a lot of I don't know, sometimes Dino. Like me and Dino, like in Roper. Who else was good? I guess me and Endo when we played Elite. There was Flowing Water and Mir. They were like a deadly duo. There was Malau and Spider from a Brazilian clan.
Random and Darks. They were a deadly combo for
Random
CF.
and Darks. They were a deadly German duo. Well, all German duos are deadly, obviously, but they were especially deadly. Anubis and anyone, I guess he was he was pretty damn good all around. There were a lot of like a lot of teams at that time that were just like insanely good. Rambo was another good German player who was like always he was all like me and him were like in close contest for like sort of best all around position, and I think I want to say that I won the first Blood season versus him and like barely beat him in playoffs. But at that time, I will say though, like at the time we were playing Roper's Elite, but now I see a lot more value in schemes like Intermediate and Chaos, which we didn't have back then. And
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Who do you think is more dangerous, Rambo or Lambo?
Lambo. That is a good question. Well, Lambo's caused us more suffering and pain than Rambo ever did. But
I just had to check because I knew I'm sure there was going to be people. It would be on their mind, you know, if I didn't say anything.
Rambo's another one of these wormers who's like he's just so good at everything. Like I would love for him to come back and start speed running or something. There's a lot of people though, like who could fit the bill, who could take on the challenge, but they're I don't know where they're at. A lot of people have sort of pieced out permanently.
I think not cool enough for them. You know?
One of the players people often compare you to is Random OO, and you two never really had the chance to compete against each other. I mean, you did in what do you call it, the Elite NOTEL EAC. I think you only played. I'll look that up, and you only played that once, and you came second. And I thought I'm sure you won that at some point, but
I think I won
you only competed once. You won the Elite League.
I won the I think I won the Elite League in like what was that, like 20? That must have been like the early 2010s or I don't know. I can't remember at this point, but Yeah, EAC. Maybe I should do that again. But yeah, no, he was really good at Elite. He had a strategy. So yeah, Random OO. He's definitely one of the best eliters. He had a strategy of placing a worm in a hole somewhere where it could never be hit, and then having his other 3 worms free. And this annoyed me because I don't think that's the right strategy at all. In fact, I see this same strategy in Worms WMD. Because the ranked matches are like Elite. You have 4 worms, you place them. Sometimes people will just place their worms in like a little hidey hole that you can't get to. I just want to go on the record and say that's always the wrong thing to do, except when there's nowhere else to place. Except when it works, right? Like the power to gang, the power to gang up, have all your worms relatively close to each other and gang up on any invading worms. That's like Worms 101 to me.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that, you have to have all your worms be free. So that's pretty crucial. I need to do more worm seminars though at the local college.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what's going on with your tutorial series on YouTube?
There's a lot I want to get to, man. Like there's I don't know what I need to do next, but well, since I'm finishing Worms WMD, I might do finish some more mission tutorials for that. Just while it's still all fresh. But I need to do some roping tutorials. I could do some general strategy tutorials for like intermediate or chaos maybe. But what else? I mean, I could do. There's so much like in Worms. Like doing a deathmatch tutorial would be kind of nice.
Yeah, I actually did record one over a year ago now. I was going to do a series of deathmatch workshop things where you just sort of like I take some replays from my file and just talk through what you can do with each of the turns and that. But I wonder if it's one of those things where Dead Code's task tool would be kind of slightly better for it, because it's harder to kind of like explain it in the abstract when you can't show what you're doing. But at the same time, I think the risk with the task tool is you can get a little too involved with like, or what happens if you do this, what happens if you do, as opposed to just looking at like, well, okay, this happened. How do you deal with that?
Do you have tool assist, Ruffled?
No, I haven't got it. I never asked for it because I figured it would just ruin my life.
I was just thinking that's something you could implement in your stream.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
It would be cool. I honestly haven't wanted to I could get access to it, but I don't want to take the time to learn it. It's like
I thought you had tool assist, Mablak.
There was one time that I downloaded it. Like some years back. I tried it like once and I was like, I'd rather just not try it.
Yeah. It's sort of peeling back a layer of reality too far, isn't it?
Seeing through the matrix, yeah.
It's a really good tool. I mean, I originally got it for doing when I was doing the CWT streams. I could analyze certain moves that the players were doing after a match. Like a lot of the time, a player would be like, "Was it actually possible for me to do this move at the end and actually win?" Because a lot of the players, they had an opportunity to win the match, but instead they would wait and get killed in the next turn. Speaking of which, CWT, you have the final coming up, do you not?
Yeah.
At
we were gonna organize
silly
it like
time in the morning.
Yeah, it's gonna be at a weird time.
Because I was actually thinking about streaming that, but not at that time.
That's the thing. It's versus Athena, so it's another case just like with like Ravka, where we are 100% opposite time zones. So it's going to be at a bad time probably.
Like I was reading the CWT chat, and I like Senator's idea about just making CWT matches, like at least in the group stage, let them do what they want. But if you get to the playoffs, have it during a certain time zone that players have to play by. And if you lose 10% of players, that's fine for the other 90% to be able to efficiently get the matches done and get the streaming done, and there'd be less arguments, because some of the arguments really put players off as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, CWT, even though it's been like the one Worms tournament that happens every year, it's just like it shouldn't take 3 months or 4 months to finish. There's not that many people. It's insane. So I think it's honestly just like the player base, because like in the Chaos League, we're getting all our matches done on a weekly basis, and there's like, actually I forget how many people there are. 24.
But that's just because Ravka doesn't play there. If Ravka played, you'd see that statistic coming dreadfully down.
Yeah, probably. But I mean that's a tough thing. It's like we could just say, okay, you're out, Ravka, but I mean,
I know, but if you get rid of Ravka, who's going to give everyone like snippets of the Bible as a prize afterwards?
Yeah, exactly.
So what,
I've seen.
Because I played him once just as a kind of like, you know, a friendly, and then he just sent me the scriptures afterwards, and it was kind of like, oh, hey, thank you very much.
Did he convert you?
No, but it was a good effort.
It was, yeah. I mean, you got to go to those unexpected.
I imagine Ravka is the little dude from Age of Empires. YOLO!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's taking his missionary work seriously. You know what they are when they're on Worms. Yeah, it's so yeah, CWT is kind of a thorny issue. It's like I want to preserve this tournament, but I mean, it's kind of just been going downhill in terms of like us actually getting it done.
Yeah,
which is probably the most important part of it.
It's a really sad thing to see, because 2000 to 2022, those 3 years were great, and then 2023, 2024, it's just went a step down each year from like quality, because people are arguing they can't get their games organized, and a lot of the time, like, I'm not trying to just stir up on Ravka. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm not saying he's a bad person for wanting to play at the time that he wants to play. But he's the one that's holding up everybody, and it causes arguments.
It's just hard to do. Like we just need a way to get it done.
Here's the thing. I did like one league thing like a few years back. It was like a doubles kind of thing. I can't remember what the league was, but one of the things that kind of put me off from doing more league games was just all the waiting for people and that. And Ravka had nothing to do with that one. You know, it was just like, you know, you arrange to do something, and then suddenly someone's like, oh, I'll be there in like 20 minutes, and it's kind of like, you know, there's just so much waiting around. And
that is another thing that
the easiest way to deal with that is make a time. If you don't show up, you get a technical loss. End the story. Move on.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lack of discipline. Like in Chaos League, it's great. People are very well disciplined there. They usually, more often than not, show up on time. There's a huge lot of respect between the players there. But in CWT, that's out the window. It's like...
Yeah, it is mostly the enforcement. We just need like rigid rules and stuff. Our whole issue is that I think we're all kind of afraid, like, if we do this, there just won't be enough people. Which I don't know. I mean
that was actually the final straw for me with CWT last year.
Yeah.
The current edition, it was a match between the Walrus and somebody else, and it was on a Saturday or a Sunday, and I basically cancelled a date with a girl so I could stream this match, right? And then Walrus turned round and he's like, I can't show up. I was like, oh, that's it. I'm done with this.
It's
priorities, man. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming everything on Walrus. He's not the only person to do it. That was just the final straw for me. You know, it was like, Nah, there's
Yeah,
too
it's
too
more
many
the
people
system.
doing this. It's like, yeah.
We need
Well-
we need a better system. Oh, I will say one thing, like since playing Worms WMD, just the ability to click on a
yeah.
ranked match and you just have it happen. That's so nice. Like, and so like I've played in the past like 6 months or so. I've played over 2,000 ranked matches on Worms WMD. That is definitely more than I've played on Armageddon. Like it just makes you want
See,
to play more. So I mean,
that's really
there's
good
that too.
if you like that scheme, but it's only got one scheme where you can do ranked play, has it not? Like that.
That is the that's a drawback.
Yeah.
It's pretty there's a lot of situations though. So I haven't gotten like bored of it yet, which is nice.
Like in an ideal world,
Yeah.
Worms Armageddon would have tens to hundreds of thousands of players, and you'd be able to choose your scheme: BNG, TTRR, Elite, Team 17, Chaos, whatever. Boom. Within a waiting time up to
Yeah.
5 minutes, I'd be cool with. But then, boom, you get your game. Any scheme
Yeah,
would be the dream.
I think we'll implement that eventually. Like that's something that like Psych has wanted to help do. I know he's been working on like Worms League, which like they want to have ranked matches. I'm not sure what the state of it is right now. But I mean Dead Code also wants to implement that in some way.
Mm.
I don't think that's coming like with the next patch, but I mean it might still happen.
We're actually literally on this subject right now, so I'll just ask this question. What do you hope to happen for Worms Armageddon and also the competitive scene in the future?
Yeah, that's what I just said is like the biggest thing. So
Yeah.
like ranked matches where you can just click a button and have a match appear would be huge. I think there would have to be some simplifying, like I don't know if we could have like as many schemes as we want or like, 10 different schemes. I think it would have to be limited so that people would like, know what they're signing up for and be like, okay, it's this scheme. So I would probably vouch for like intermediate just because it's like the standard scheme that people know. But I mean, I would like to see other stuff too, like BNG and elites.
I honestly wouldn't even be fussed with BNG, but I would like either big rope race or time trial rope race. One of those two, or even both of them. There has to be.
I mean,
I'd say there has to be a physical scheme, there has to be an artillery scheme, and there has to be a strategic scheme. So I would go for like intermediate or elite, grenade wars or hysteria, and
I guess the thing
TTRR or big rope race.
With rope race though, the only thing is like the game can't detect a win or a loss.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how we navigate that, but we can definitely do it. It's definitely doable, at least with some of these schemes, and I want to see that. I think that would be the biggest thing.
You've got crate before attack. That's got a solution to that because you've got the start and you've got the finish line that you actually have to touch, and it records your time. So if they could somehow implement that into Worms Armageddon, that could work. Oh, okay. And there's a time to say I beat one of your records on crate before attack, by the way.
Oh, nice. Oh, so crate before attack, you mean so this is the Worms clone where you're
with frogs.
Yeah. With frogs. That's good though, because those I got a few times on there. They were pretty good times. But good job beating one.
By I think a whole second. So I was quite chuffed with that.
Nice.
It's weird because I actually beat that record 3 times before, but it wasn't accepting my record for some reason. It wasn't accepting it. But then I'm quite glad because I ended up doing it again and it was the best time that I got. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, good job. Yeah, that game's... I like that game a lot as a roping simulator. Yeah. It's like the physics are like... They're like 90% as good as Armageddon, something like that.
I actually prefer the mechanics from CBA. I actually prefer... in Worms Armageddon, you know how you've got the unrestrict rope option? in the extended scheme options. I think that's better than Worms Armageddon rope. But it's not something that they'll just replace in all the schemes, so I never bother with it.
Well, I like that you can sort of bang your head a little bit, like on ceilings or on the side, and then like kind of keep going.
Yeah.
I feel like a little bit of that is fine. Armageddon is like super unforgiving.
Oh yeah.
Like
I like how it works in CBA because if you hit your head a little bit, you still get to go. Even though it can slow you down a little bit, but you get to keep going. It's good that it's
yeah, that's a little more fair. I mean, like if you were to design a rope game from the ground up today, I think it would have to have that because like nobody can deal with the frustration that we used to deal with, like learning to rope in the 2000s. I don't know. We just had fewer distractions back then.
Have you heard anything? Have you heard anything about Sykes' project?
Not lately. Well, I think he's kind of taken a break from Worms for a while. So I think he just hasn't been working on that. But he's always working on interesting stuff. He was also working on like a sort of a rope clone type game, which looked interesting. And I'm sure he's going to make something. It looked like
it was nice.
I think the rope was like just kind of a thin line. It looked pretty, it looked pretty fun.
He had some really cool ideas for the visual aspect of it because he wanted to make it more visually appealing and like have obstacles and stuff like that as well. He had some really good ideas. I don't know how much further he's got on it with that. Yeah,
he'll come up with something cool, like because he's been working on like random like 3 or 4 different games, I think, in the past like handful of years. He'll settle on something.
Here's a question from Chicken23. If you were the overseer of Worms Armageddon, what would your ideal competitive league structure and system look like?
Oh wow! I think
just pretend you could hire anybody you want to make it, and it would be possible. What would it look like?
Holy shit! Well, I think we've already seen the best league system, which is at normalnonoobs.org or is it .com? But yeah, at NNNL, the league system is incredibly fair. There is one slight downside, which I think is intrinsic to all systems, but like you do want to play as many people as possible. Like if you've like it's super, super fair, but if there's like one good player that you like haven't played during a season, you kind of won't get as many points. That's the only slight downside. But I forget what the type of system that's called is, but it always recalculates like everyone's standings based on like how good the player you beat is, like, you know, at the current time. So it's constantly like looking at the network of it's not just looking at the player that you beat, it's looking at all the players they've beaten and doing a really complex calculation. I can't remember the name of you know, the whole algorithm, but if you check out that site.
Mablak's sort of went a bit weird.
He pressed the button on his head and he's just frozen up. He sailed too close to the crown.
Mablak, where are you? He's just completely frozen in that.
Yeah.
In that frame, he's pressed the button and he's just paused America. There he is.
Yeah. There we go. You just had a factory reset. There we go.
Got me back.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, ONL, that league, it's super super fair. It's,
sorry, I just like the not missing a beat. Just carry on. Like,
yeah.
Very
yeah, and let's see. I mean, I would design a league based around that exact system, I think. But I guess the only thing is it's really hard to combine different schemes. Like I would apply that, you know, on a per scheme basis.
Yeah.
I don't know what we would do for like sort of an all-round thing. I just
wouldn't have an all-round if it was me.
Maybe not. I mean, it's the
I
thing
think
about all round is like
we're too divided
it applied
that.
for a time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was all round was better when it was only like 3 or 4 schemes, but it's a bit
Right.
of a problem, especially now when it's like pretty much the best players who can do all round seem to usually be those who have the most free time to actually play all the schemes.
Yep.
You know?
The issue is like, okay, when Worms started, we had CL2K, WACL. There was Roper, Team 17. Rope Race got integrated a little later. There was Pro or Elite, BNG, if I didn't say that. There,
Yeah.
there was a handful of schemes. Now there's like, I mean, there's been, 20 or so like really popular schemes, or more depending on how liberal you want to be about it. But it's just so many. You would have to spend every waking hour trying to just stay relatively warm or in shape at those schemes to even
Yeah.
play them competently. I mean, it's Worms is just too vast.
That's back when there were so many top players compared to what there is now. Like for each, and that's for each scheme. For Elite, there were about 50 incredible players at least. For B&G, there was like 50 incredible players. For Roper, there was hundreds of incredible players because Roper was the most popular back then. But there was so many players that were on that really high level. It was so exciting to be around in.
It was exciting. There was yeah, at Roper there was like what, Ownless, there was Penguin, there was Malau, myself,
Spider, the Hamster, Spinwin, Roper, the Sheriff, the Clash, the Walrus, the Feudo. There was myself,
Volcom.
There was yourself, Volcom, Volrin, Genu-Esma. Oh Christ, the list goes on. There were so many.
Okay,
the Crow, many players.
There was Dexta, who had that famous
good.
shot against me in Rope.
Yeah.
There's still a GIF. I think there's still a GIF. I don't know if you can just Google it, but this guy Dexta in like a famous roper against me, like he finishes. Wait, well, I don't know if he finishes me off, but he like a crate falls on like the opposite side of the map. He has 15 seconds to get it and then attack me, and he just ropes like beyond perfectly and like does it, and he does like a kick or something to gain speed, and then like bazookas me from rope and does a perfect 46 damage on me. And it's like, that was when we were doing these like roper tournaments every month, and yeah, those times were incredible. But I would say, despite all the schemes we have, it's probably better to just have like a small number and do ranked based on that. Because like in Worms WMD, even with the one scheme and the occasional fort mode, which they throw in every now and then, it's still really competitive. There's
you can even
there's a
look
lot
at
of variety to it.
Each individual scheme in a way is kind of like its own video game in a way.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So leading on to the next question, then, what league schemes do you think are the most skill based?
I probably said this already, but intermediate, chaos, and rope race, pretty much. I feel like rope race kind of, it doesn't have every possible rope skill you can have, because I mean, roper or big rope race, those are additional skills, and warmer, of course. Like I think warming is also like just one of the highest forms of roping, like knowing how to do all the tricks. But I think rope race has shown to be, you can keep getting better for many years, even over a decade. Like I'm still getting very, very slightly better at rope race, like over time. Maybe not like, I can't get faster, I'm aging. I can't increase my reaction times, but I can still get a little better in certain ways. So rope race on the motor skill side, and then like strategically intermediate has just shown a really high skill ceiling. I think it's we see these CWT matches, and it's like people are continually like getting like slightly better in certain ways and like seeing further ahead, and yeah, who else? Well, it's like we've had Dario, Chubash, myself, Chorus. I'd say Rafka too, K's. Like all these players have shown like just like there's some like really insane stuff we can do in intermediate. Like you can and occasionally like some really unusual strategies. Like you go to the other side of the map, girder someone, then retreat, just to box them in for sudden death. Like there's so much you can do. But yeah, what else? So I mean, chaos is really breaking my brain right now. Because chaos has more potential than almost anything. There's you can do any number of weapons per turn. So like the combo possibilities are just like endless.
Yeah.
And in fact, maybe like if there's another Worms game, maybe people want to do like the chaos route of infinite weapons per turn. Like it's a potential model for like a whole Worms game in itself, I think.
Is that actually possible to just do chaos with all weapons available? Infinite all weapons and
so like that would be
and have
full
like
damage.
I don't think you'd be able to have 60 seconds though. That would be like overkill. You could probably just wipe the floor with a team. If that was the case, maybe you'd have to take out weapons like Donkey and stuff like that, or Armageddon. That would be too
that
easy.
Would kind of like cut to the chase a little bit, wouldn't it? If,
yeah,
Donkey and Armageddon available from the first play.
Yeah. Who can click on Donkey the fastest?
I did actually get. Did someone did a league of like just Armageddon only battles where it was just kind of like no skill required, just everyone just Armageddons until we have a winner. And
it's like paper, scissors, rock.
Comet dodging, that's great. That
there is comet dodging where you can actually like you send it, but then you have time to evade the comets, which it's pretty fun. It's like just pure reaction.
Is that with the jetpack? Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah, that's pretty cool. That.
There's two missions like that in World Party as well.
Exactly.
Like
ideally you get like above the Armageddon, but you can also you can dodge as well.
Mablak prefers to dodge. I prefer certainties in life. So
well, I think I did try that one for a while, and I was like, well, I can dodge like most of the time, but if I do an actual run, I know I'm gonna feel different.
Yeah,
but the dodging is fun. That's if it was like taking it to a marathon, I feel like I would do the dodging. It would be like, did you do the dodging route, or did you do the above route at? You did it ESA,
when I
right?
did World Party, I did a few marathons, but I always went with the above route just because it gets a laugh.
Like, that's
that's the thing. Like
fun.
it's you can do the dodging thing with the jetpack, and it is impressive. But like if you just zoom up above the spawn plane of the comets, the audience just finds it funny. So
it is also pretty funny.
And coming from a comedy background, like I thought, wow,
you got to go for the laughs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think Ivor would play really well.
Yeah.
Unlike Worms World Party, which is a game just lagged the hell out of ESA for some reason, but
yeah, it's weird. Trying to think if there's anything else I have to talk about.
Well, you're the interviewee, so it's up to us to decide what you should be talking about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, anyway. Next one then. Another question, because I've got a few questions here from Chicken23 that I'm just going through. You're widely regarded as being the GOAT of overall competitive Worms Armageddon. Do you have some kind of process and preparation before matches?
I typically didn't, but playing Chaos, I've found, probably because it's a newer scheme for me, I have found that I have to mentally prepare myself beforehand. and be like, okay, I'm going to focus on collecting as many crates as I can and then getting a fucking easy kill.
Yeah.
And just like do that. But that's mostly because like it goes against my worming instincts. It's a little different as a scheme. For a lot of other schemes, it was more just like keep playing it until play it over and over until like you don't have to think that much. Like with intermediate, usually to warm up, I'll just like start a game, see if I can correctly spot all the kills, you know, in like 10 or 15 seconds, and then like try a new map. And that kind of helps with like kill spotting.
Is what you're saying is you look at it, you give yourself 15 seconds to just look and see what you can do, but then you don't actually do it. You just move on to the next map.
Well,
that's actually a pretty good technique because you already know that you can do it mechanically.
Well, if it's really easy, if I'm like, okay, I know I can do this, maybe I'll skip. But if it's like, you know, I don't know if I can do this or not, I'll try to do it. But
yeah.
That's one good way to practice. But I mean, aside from that, though, I think honestly, like I think a lot of like the competitive side that I have is like, you know, I played tennis. That helped a lot. I think just like playing an actual physical sport, it like helped a lot with like concentration and like dealing with stressful, you know, situations and like keeping your cool. So that definitely plays into like just general like competitive ability, I think. But yeah, like Chaos has also been teaching me like to deal with like mistakes more. Like you won't find a scheme that's like better in that respect because like there's so many mistakes you can make even on a turn by turn basis. It's crazy, and you have to like reset yourself a lot. It's yeah, I think that is the scheme where I've experienced the most disappointment too, because it's just like in one turn you can make like 10 mistakes. You can make 10 mistakes and still have it be a good turn too.
Yeah.
But usually a few mistakes means you're you're going downhill. But you have to really like not get too stressed about it, and that's it's more of a constant battle in that scheme. But yeah, I think it's like you just have to like tell yourself to shut up and think. Anytime you start to get stressed, just be like, you know what, let's not zone out or think about how badly you just fucked up. Just start thinking about the next turn.
So here's another one from Chicken23, the last one from him. So you're known for being able to adapt to any scheme pretty quickly. What schemes, if any, are you planning to master in the near future? Is there anything you've got your eye on?
Like new ones? I mean, I played a lot of schemes. I guess just Chaos. I mean, it's all I've been super interested in terms of like new schemes. I think I definitely want to see more schemes. Like I hope this isn't like the end of you know, the schemes I'm interested in Worms, but that's pretty much it. Because it's just a very it's easy to come up with schemes, but it's hard to like get communities to form around them.
Yeah.
And get like lots of interest.
Yeah.
But Chaos is going that route. We have like chaosleague.com, and I think we do need to do something to get more like new players in, because currently the league it's like all seasoned like pros and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to compete. But yeah, I think that's basically it. I don't know. I've played so many schemes in my years that I don't really have anything else. But I will say I've been interested in like Worms WMD, the ranked scheme there. That's kind of like just a different scheme to me.
That is actually a bit of a barrier for a lot of players in Worms Armageddon. Is you come on in almost anything you're playing against very seasoned players. It's like losing a game, fine. Getting your ass absolutely handed to you, like totally destroyed, match after match after match. You don't even have a chance. It's like I think the ideal way to learn is to be able to play against beginners, medium players, and advanced players. A mixture of those. I think that, and that goes for any level of player. I think that's one of the best ways to learn, because you're able to, if you're a seasoned player, the easy teams give you that boost of confidence where you can just absolutely spank them. The medium players is like, you can't let your guard off. You still need to try. And then you're playing against the other top players, which is like really hard and rewarding as well. And you learn new things. I think that's a good way. But if you're a new player and everybody's a pro, that can be a little bit disheartening, I think.
Yeah. It is true. That's also kind of how it's been working in like the Worms WMD ranked matches. It's like you can just get paired up against freaking anybody.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's like there are times where it's just like it's beginner after beginner, and it's like I'm clearly like deterring them from the game. Like I mean, I can read what they write, and they say like, "God damn it, not you again." But that's due to like a limited number of players. It may be also due to just a bad ranking system. So I mean, if we get a ranking system, we're gonna have to like make sure that it's not like just like pushing people away. It's hard to it's got to be hard to deal with a case where it's like a lot of players are just pro players. I think the Korean word is what is it? It's like coin mole or something, which means like I'm probably not even saying it right, but it means like stagnant water, like the players who have just been sitting in the pool for decades.
Are there any other Worms games that you haven't played yet, but you're planning to do at some point just to crush more dreams?
And don't say Worms 3D.
Oh God. I can't do the 3D ones now. Yeah, it might be Revolution. Like after WMD, I might try Revolution again, finishing that speedrun at least. But I want to play the other ones, but they're all on like DS or like weird. I mean, I might have to do some emulator shit.
You ever thought about doing any of the more long form Armageddon speedruns, like the 100% or the Worms 2 trilogy? Have you thought about?
Yeah, there is the trilogy. That's honestly a really cool category that you've been doing. Which, if people don't know, it's just Worms 2, Worms Armageddon, Worms World Party.
Yeah. Which I need to.
That is
I need to retrain myself actually on that one because I haven't done it in so long.
Yeah,
I do want to start doing it again at some point.
The good thing about that is like you could kind of just you could kind of just focus on the Worms 2 part and then be like, hey, if I get a good Worms 2 run, just do the rest,
Well, I thought that with 100%, with Worms Armageddon, and I ended up. The reason I stopped doing hundo runs is because I always started with deathmatch, and the thing was I'd just get obsessed with getting a good deathmatch run, so I'd never even get to the training and the missions.
Are you allowed to do that either way? Like, are you allowed to?
You can do it any way you want, but it makes. I mean, to me, it makes more sense to do it deathmatch first because that's far more variable as far as RNG goes, whereas the missions are, pretty scripted. And also you need to do the training before the missions as well because you need to do basic training in there to open them up.
I would like to do that category. I think the biggest setback for me is like I kind of want a category that's like around 2 hours or less.
Yeah.
More than that is like getting into
it's a commitment.
Bathroom break territory. Which
yeah. Well, that's that's half the fun. Well, I say fun guardedly here, but half the fun of it is actually scheduling. Pain. Yeah, half the pain is scheduling the toilet breaks. Because Worms 2 actually on that basis it's probably best to do it in the middle because that's where the three big bathroom breaks.
That's a good point.
In all
anything about that.
Yeah, you don't really have that in either of the other games, from what I recall.
That's a good point. You don't. I mean,
Um,
yeah, you don't have to do the trilogy in like chronological order, right? You can just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the a little tip for 100%, the crazy crates, the rope training is the best
Yeah.
bathroom break. Because
Oh right. Yeah.
yeah, it's because what you do there is because in fact all the trainings are a bit of they're the most DOS part of 100% because you are just getting the target and then waiting for the time to run down. Or
Oh right.
blowing
Right. Right.
yourself
Right.
up in order to get the gold or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but with crazy crates, there isn't really a way of like killing yourself off in that one unless you just keep throwing yourself around. And even then, I don't
Oh.
think I don't think you actually die. I swear I've like taken the total HP off and still been fine.
Oh my
So
god.
so just basically get as many crates as you need to get the gold, and then the
Mhm.
time that you've got left, just go to the toilet. That's
Okay.
that's what I did.
All right. I got to remember that.
Yeah.
That would be fun to do. Yeah. That is a perfect category. I feel like that's another category. Like, that would be good for a marathon, but it would have to be a very specific marathon. Maybe you could work it
Yes.
into work it into an RPG marathon. You just gotta lie a little bit, be like,
Well, you could do
it's
it as a relay.
it's turn based, like an
Hmm.
RPG.
Yeah, we could do it as a relay kind of thing because remember we did discuss
Yeah,
and it was as I say it was
that'd be dope.
my fault that this fell through, but Mablak and I did discuss doing a deathmatch relay for GDQ at one point
That
and
would be sick.
submitting that. The only problem was I just couldn't get a deathmatch clip together in time for the
I mean,
run.
like, yeah, I don't
So,
know, like maybe
or not like a commentated one, obviously I've
yeah,
got like plenty of deathmatch runs I could send them, but like
right. I
not
mean, maybe we
Have
should
marathon
try
yous
that for like the
have
next
yous
GDQ,
ever
like just
yeah, maybe.
have yous ever done like that thing where you do like a versus speedrun thing where you're both doing it at the same time?
Uh,
we talked about that.
we talked about it a few times. We
We
did.
can't
I think
sync up the actual deathmatch maps
the one
though.
that seemed like it might be the most fun to me, at least, was bingo.
Oh yeah.
We did actually. I think we did
Bingo?
start looking into. Yeah, so like there's a marathon called Bingothon, and it's all bingo based speed runs. So it's about like there's like these bingo card generators that they've got, and
Oh
it
yeah. I know what
generates.
you're on about. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just generates a bunch of random targets that you're supposed to achieve in the speed run that you're doing. And we did look into getting that sorted for Armageddon at one point, and I think someone did put one together. I can't remember. I think I was just busy at the time when that kind of came to be, and I just didn't get around to looking at it. So yeah,
There's some ideas there. I'm totally down to do that, by the way.
no,
Like
same,
whenever.
same. Because especially if you're doing that in deathmatch, and you get completely different seeds, for your maps.
We can
And
still do the bingo part. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
I
so
don't exactly know, like, so like you just keep playing until you have gotten a bingo, right? You
yeah,
don't.
yeah. From what I understand, yeah.
Okay.
I
So you
meant to
don't necessarily complete a whole run.
no, I meant to put
Okay.
aside some time to actually research Bingothon and what they use for that kind of stuff properly, but I just never got around to it. But yeah,
Yes.
that seems
Yeah.
like the kind of entry level thing because it does seem like your GDQs, your ESAs, like are quite big on randomizers and bingo runs and that kind of stuff. Just because it's more of a novelty, and also it's in many cases it's quicker.
Yeah,
Than booking a full run.
I've seen a lot more of that. Like instead of like Zelda, it's like a randomizer.
Yeah.
Rock Green. It's partly because they're running out. Like the main category has been done to death, so we gotta spice it up.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
There's that.
Mm.
Now, I have two more questions left. And then if anybody else has got any more questions after that, because we'll need to be wrapping it up soon.
Yeah.
If you could bring back a few players that you miss, who would they be?
King Hingle.
King. Well, there's That's a tough one. I mean, there's Baitor who, we mentioned before he passed away unfortunately sometime during COVID. 'Cause he was like a huge inspiration for all of us. Made us all good at intermediate. But yeah, there's that guy. There's Pure, who I talked about before. It's awesome roper. Maybe Valrin, who is also like one of the first like incredible kind of ropers.
I wish I had a replay of Volran.
I definitely
that
have some.
Person, that's the best roper I've ever seen.
He's really inspiring.
I'm kind of leaning towards it was cheats because it was ridiculously good, but
I mean,
because he was the player who said he roped two different ways because he could tap really good with his left hand, but he got arthritis, so he had to go the other way and rope cross hand or something like that. Something like that.
That would like screw up your skill completely. I mean,
I was gonna say, yeah, did that strike you as being slightly like uncredible then, or something?
Well, not really.
Yeah.
I can rope both ways. I've learned to do that myself.
That's true. You are uniquely talented in that way.
Ambidextrous.
Oh yeah, but this guy, I mean, like, I didn't play him in his heyday. I played him a little after that, and like, he was still pretty incredible. And if he was using cheats, so there was a cheat to play the game in slow motion. When people used this, it would lag the game, and you could see it. Which I don't think happened, at least. I guess also there's probably a lot of players.
This was before that cheat came around, before X speed.
Yeah. There's also Anubis. I talked to him recently, actually, but German player. He's often, in the running for like best, most godly ropers of all time. But he was good at everything too. But yeah, he was the guy who like would take his spacebar off and tap directly on the contact point of the the spacebar. He did things that made people think he cheated. Like so he finger rolled. He went like this. So his taps are pretty much the fastest of all time as far as I've seen. But he could play even without doing that, and he was just like insane. Like the moves he would come up with, the speed, he's just on another level. But I think he'd probably be. I guess maybe every handful of years he plays the game a little bit. So
he's another one of these players that I would need proof to believe.
Well, I think yeah, I mean, like his he's had people visit him in real life, and they saw his roping firsthand.
I've seen him roping where he's good, where it's like other top ropers, and then I've seen him roping doing things that literally nobody else can do, and it's like, nah, that's when he's not being visited. It's like I believe that he's a really good roper, and I believe that he's up there with the best normally. But then there's like that other level there where he just goes, and it's like insane.
I think he may have said that, like, and he also did a lot of aliasing. I think he said in the past that like during some warmers and stuff that he did use X speed, like when he was aliasing, but I don't know. I don't think he I think he wanted to like not do that in any like actual games, but I mean, like I think he like said that he did that, but I think it was just when he was aliasing. I don't know. But we should interview him, actually. Like he was on our our list.
Yeah.
He can clear all this up if he just comes on,
That would be a good one with a big beard.
Yeah, he's really into metal.
To see his keyboard collection as well, that would be good.
Yeah.
So yeah, last but not least then.
All right.
Can you share any advice for aspiring players looking to improve at anything?
Damn.
More keeps.
I guess I would say get good at rope. It applies to everything.
Except World Party.
Except World Party.
No, that's not true. There are some rope missions in World Party, so get good at rope.
Yeah.
Yes. I guess there's a million things I could say, but if it's like a strategic scheme, which, is the core of Worms, I guess I would say there's a lot of tips. One of them is make sure to use your opponent's turn to think. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Like, that's a habit that anyone can get into, and like doing that alone can like just improve your game like a lot. So use your opponent's turn to think. If you, well, it really depends on the scheme. But if it's something like intermediate, if you're using worm selects, make sure to, think a little bit ahead, but not like perfectly ahead, and think like, okay, if I use a worm select, will this, not just my next worm, but will the next few worms have like decent, things that they can do?
Yeah.
And let's see, overall, I guess I would say like one big strategic thing, just keep attacking. Do something each turn. Don't girder unless you are, basically forced to. But think about the game in terms of how many turns you have left to win. That's like one of the big ones that, don't go by the health bars like at the bottom of the screen. Go by how many turns you have left to win, and think about it like, okay, each worm is kind of like, I can take it out in, depending on the scheme, like 2 turns. Like if it's 100 health worm, you can take it out with 2 shotguns. Or if you're lucky, you can kill it in 1 turn if you can like send it to the water. But it's like, think about how many turns you have left and try to stay like a turn ahead. That's
and
like
don't ever teleport, or Mablak will steal your dinner money.
Never. If you teleport, I will teleport behind you and say nothing personnel, kid.
We've actually seen that in CWT. I remember one, I can't remember who the 2 players were, but one of them used a teleport. The other one teleported in front of them, they were blocked. The other one teleported in front of them, so they were blocked. What? And then they did it back. This went on until they ran out of teleports.
What the fuck?
I would like to have a scheme where it's just infinite teleports and nothing else, and then I would play Mablak at that scheme. That's just like to see how long it lasts. Yeah, exactly.
Musical, that could work. Or like hide and seek or something.
Yeah. See, everyone's gone about the rope race. You never talk about the teleport race. Quality of life.
Yeah, teleport race. Like you'd need a massive mouse map, and it's like how far can you teleport? How far can you go? Scroll your mouse in like 3 seconds and then teleport.
I'm gonna be the maverick. I'm just gonna use my hand and move my mouse along it like that, like just constantly.
Teleport race, is that? I'm not too sure, but this is what I think of when I hear teleport race. You've got like a rope race map or a jetpack race map, and you've got the teleport, and you've basically got to go through it with the teleport. Imagine if you had a scheme. Do you know how? What is it? What's that game? Is it Operation or something? Where you've got to have the ring through the wire. It would be cool if Worms had a scheme like that.
Like the game where you're doing an operation on a body.
Oh, that's not Operation then. The one with the wire's pretty fun though. Where you've got to get the wire, the ring. You've got like a handle with a ring, and you've got to get it all the way around the wire without touching it, and you get a little electric shock.
Yes, I don't know what that's called, but I know exactly the game that you're on about.
Yeah. That was fun. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can actually see this. It's like you got to teleport within like, you have 1 second turns, and you have to teleport as quickly as you can. If you're like off by a little bit, then you gotta go back or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, teleport onto pixels, individual pixels.
Well, I have a final question, but I will save that just in case Kamito has any last things he
No,
wants
no. I'm good. On you
Yeah.
go. Ask your question.
Okay.
Okay, the very
Right.
last question, the one that everyone I polled wants to know about, is what is your favorite album by a member of Animal Collective that isn't an Animal Collective album?
Oh, that's that is actually a little hard. We have the much praised Person Pitch by
Mhm.
Panda Bear. But I think maybe the one I listened to the most was Down There by AB Tear.
Oh wow!
And it's a little depressing.
Hmm.
Like one of the songs it sounds like it's about his like sister in the hospital or something. And there's not a lot of like danciness to it or anything. But it's like all the sounds are like really cool and all the melodies are really cool. So yeah, maybe that or maybe Person Pitch. I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
but I mean, most of his stuff.
Person Pitch. What
Yeah,
is it you like about that one?
I mean, just the loops are really cool in that. I don't know. It's there's a lot of times where he's just mumbling words and you're like, did he say that or did he say this other thing? And it's
Considering how you sprung the Animal Collective question on me last time, I'm
Yeah.
slightly disappointed that you're not prepared to rise up to the challenge yourself.
Oh yeah, it's hard. It's hard to decide on these things.
Mm.
But yeah, everyone should listen to Person Pitch. I mean, it's
a great
it's just
album.
great.
Mm.
Fantastic. Yeah, I want to do more sample based stuff. I haven't done like any sampley type music before.
Yeah, no, I'd like to. I'd be interested in hearing you take a pop at that.
Oh
we
yeah.
should do like a freeway collab because we all make music.
Yeah, this is true. All right, listen, you'll send me your stuff. I'll remix it. I can't promise it'll be danceable or listenable, but
Okay.
I have time on my hands, so
Nice.
send it.
Yeah.
Actually, wait, that's not true. I've got loads of stuff to do, but I'll find time.
We need to get Mablak on the vocals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm good once I warm up.
My Angel Mablak. Is that what the name was? My Angel Mablak?
That's what Charles. Yeah, apparently that was a wider meme that he was using there.
Oh,
you get unique for that. You know what?
Okay, I was wondering where that came from. I was like, why you still got that name?
Yeah.
They're talking
but yeah,
about.
that's all I got.
All right, wrapping it up. Okay, well, yeah, thanks for being here to interview me, guys. I could go on for even, it's been like 4 hours.
I mean, I was just
on longer.
Our feeds already. Look, he's already taken us to black, like so he could do his ending.
Right. Oh, sorry. Right, hold on. I need to put this on the other screen.
I'm on
us back.
Is that better now?
Yeah, we're on.
Right, good. I'm trying to find the right folder.
This isn't over till I say it's over.
Yeah.
I do have a bit of an announcement. But first I'm doing this. Trying to find. Where is it?
I didn't even talk about the Worms RPG that me and Flamey worked on.
Oh, no.
Talk about that while I'm looking for this then.
Yeah.
Maybe another day. Well, I mean, we spent like a handful of months. It was going to be a browser-based RPG. We didn't know what we were doing at all.
Right.
But this other Wormwort the Wyvern, he made some really cool music for it. I was working on the art. None of my art was good. I was like 18. But Wyvern made some like really good tracks. I wish I could find them. He has them somewhere, but
what kind of style was he doing for that music? Was it like the sort of Bjorn Lin kind of thing, or was he?
Well, it was just his own thing, really. But it's like he made this cool like there was like an item shop. He made this cool like jazzy song for it. He put a lot of effort into it, but it fizzled out pretty fast, unfortunately.
I honestly, I think you should bring that back because I'd love to play Worms RPG. Genuinely,
the thing is, we just didn't know what the hell it was going to be. We were trying to get a battle system going. We're like, this is turning into just BNG. Like, this is just, this is not. This is a bad idea. But Yeah, I drew some enemies, and they in MS Paint.
Oh wow.
Right.
They were, yeah, good times, but yeah, it didn't go anywhere.
Well, I found this. This is what Diaz was talking about. Mablak
Okay.
and Ruffled Bricks. You're not going to hear this if you're not listening to the stream, but it's about 15. Takes about 20 seconds to get to the part. It's basically unique singing. Do you remember this? I'll send you it, Diaz.
I can't hear it. I remember Unique though. He was a.
I can hear
he was
it.
a good warmer.
Just remember this clip. Oh, that kills me. Anyway, that's it.
So I just to check I heard this correctly. So that was some operatic techno. Is
Yeah, basically. So yeah,
no, I'd like to hear them. I'd like to hear Unique and Mablak do a collab.
Oh God.
I think that would
He
work.
unfortunately, yeah. I believe we were in a clan together. He was, yeah. He left the game quite a while ago.
yeah.
But
Oh, I see.
he was good. He was a skilled player and rapper. I don't know.
Oh, I remember the rap battles we used to do on the forums. That was quite funny.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Dino was pretty good at that. So was Averex.
Oh. Yeah,
But,
they were good. They were also part of DT. Yep.
Announcement. So we've got the next guest lined up for the podcast. Unfortunately, we don't know when it's going to be because I'll explain in a minute. So the creator of Worms himself, the legend Andy Davidson, has agreed to come on the podcast.
Oh my
So,
God.
Oh yeah.
massive privilege that'll be having him on the podcast. Really looking forward to that. But he's tied up with the programming for Worms Director's Cut. So he's doing that first. And it's probably going to be March, maybe April. Because unfortunately, he had a family member pass away, and so that would put things back a bit. So understandably, so he's now working again on Worms Director's Cut, and then once that's done and released, he's agreed to come on the podcast. So yeah, I'll post on the TUS forums. And what we're going to do is, because he's such a massive part of the entire community, obviously, I'm going to put up a few threads here and there to get people writing down any and all questions they can, and we'll take all the best questions so that we can ask some questions to him as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, if anyone has questions, go over to TUS. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of things we all want to ask him. I think I'm gonna want to ask him like if he still has the original worms he programmed on his calculator.
Yeah, we'll write that down, and we can ask that, or you can ask that. So yeah, thank you very, very much, Mablak, for giving us your time coming on. I hope you.
Thank you. Thanks for spending an entire 4 hours. I'm sorry it went on so long.
No, that's good. That's good. Also, thank you very, very much to Ruffled Bricks giving us his time.
Yeah, man.
As
Thanks.
the
No worries at all. No worries.
unique, beautiful, lovely co-host there. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And,
you know, big up you, Kamito, for making this all happen.
Thank you very much. It's a team effort. It always has been. It always will be. That's the way it is. So yeah, I hope everybody watching enjoyed this podcast with Mablak. And as soon as the next one is arranged with I'd like to say Sir Andy Davidson, because he is that sort of that person to us. Yeah, I'll announce it in the Discord as soon as we have a date. And yeah, so until next time, hope everybody has a nice week, a nice month, a nice year, whatever. Take care and goodbye.
Cheerio.
Bye.